Breaking right now, several tornado warnings associated with a big area of low pressure that's working through the heartland right now. And that big area of low pressure also has some damaging winds associated with it. So the first thing you may notice, this curly Q, this comma mark here, this is the area of low pressure in here. This is an extremely potent area of low pressure that has some strong and damaging winds associated with this. And not even where the rain is right now, but then there are the official warnings. Now, there are warnings here. There are high wind warnings that you don't see here right now, but this is the severe thunderstorm warnings in yellow, and the red, the tornado warning. So tornadoes are either happening or they're about to happen, and severe thunderstorms are either happening or they're about to happen. Again, the watches mean conditions are favorable. These warnings mean that it is either happening or it's imminent. It's about to happen. And the storms just went through Sioux City, likely seeing some strong winds behind it. These storms are racing along, and depending on which part of the area of low pressure you're nearest to will depend which direction these storms are coming at you, either from the south or as we go down the line from the west as the system is pushing through. Here's Plymouth, Woodbury counties, and then a little bit farther to the south here. Again, if you're getting the sound of thunder off in the distance, if you are in the line of this line of storms, take shelter because this is moving so fast. Any one of these areas, anywhere along this, we can see a spin up. There is virtually tornado warning after tornado warning all along this line. Sometimes it's a lot more obvious, like right here, just west, kind of northwest of Elliott, where there's likely some of that rotation here in Iowa. And this, it's going to get very close to Atlantic. And regardless, again, there's some spin here, but anywhere along this whole line as it moves off, there's the potential for damaging winds. Lowest level of your home, basement if you have it. If you don't, interior, most portion of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Now this part of the line is going more to a west to east angle here. It's again, because this is all associated with this big area of low pressure as we track this down into so that the, wow, look at this. The tornado warnings go almost the entire eastern border here of Nebraska with Missouri and Iowa. Again, these tornadoes heading eventually into an area, and this storm heading into an area that's already been hit so hard late last week and into the weekend by tornadoes. We want to go to Justin Michaels now, who's live on the ground in Dawson Springs. Justin.
I'll tell you what, Mike, we're getting some breaking news as far as the intensity of the storm that went through Mayfield, Kentucky, not far from where we're standing on Friday night. We now know it was 190-mile-per-hour winds with an EF4 tornado. That is the official rating from the National Weather Service. We're still learning more about that storm, but also the storm that came right through here, Dawson Springs, Kentucky. We're waiting to learn more about the rating for that one, but we now know, again, Mayfield, Kentucky's tornado was an EF4 packing 190-mile-per-hour winds. As far as the damage here, let me step out of the way because we're in a different part of town. If you've been sticking with us here on the Weather Channel to get a glimpse of what it's like in some of the neighborhoods, let's show you some of the businesses. You can see, first of all, where we're standing. This used to be a dance hall. A few years ago, it was the American Legion Hall. This is a place where people came weekly to square dance and enjoy themselves, and now you can see it is a complete loss. Looking across the street, you can see FEMA is set up over there, but also some other very large businesses, both destroyed. One is a distribution facility. And what's kind of haunting about that distribution facility is you can see all the infrastructure of the building kind of crumbled and mangled all around the contents of the building. All the goods that were being held there are now still there, but encased in all the debris that is the building. And really just kind of a startling view of what's going on. And as Mike Hall continues to pan back around, you can see another factory back there. That was the plastics plant. It's a complete loss as well. And just the utter devastation along Highway 62 going through the area here, Chris. So I'll tell you what, Chris, the more we move around town, the more devastation and demolition we see. Chris, into you.
That's such a sad situation. Still days now after the tornadoes, and the damage looks like it just happened just hours ago. I mean, it's so fresh still, unfortunately, here. There is, unfortunately, another severe weather and tornado threat right now. I want to show you the areas that are at risk tonight, where it is very likely, in fact, there's going to be some severe thunderstorms, and some of those may come in the form of tornadoes. This is the Torcon here. There are 5s, 4s, 3s, and 2s. Anywhere in here, if there's a number, there's a threat. The bigger the number, the bigger that threat. And within that is this big area of low pressure. On the leading edge of this big area of low pressure is where there continues to be tornado warning after tornado warning, almost the entire eastern border now of Nebraska going into Iowa. And they're happening again. It feels like almost every other minute we're seeing one of these tornado warnings. This one right here is the latest for parts of Cherokee, Ida, and Plymouth counties. This tornado warning in effect until 5:15. These storms are cruising along right now, and then there's going to be even stronger winds in some cases behind these storms.
I have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now there's Skyrizi. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clearer skin at 4 months after just 2 doses.
Skyrizi may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or coughs, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Talk to your dermatologist about Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Shop the FE Holiday event at Macy's with 30 to 50% off fine jewelry. Plus shop super buys like gemstones and diamonds, beautiful diamond cluster rings, and this amazing emerald pendant and ring. Give the gift of sparkle at Macy's.
With thyroid eye disease, I was always wearing sunglasses to hide my bulging eyes. I wore them just about everywhere. But then my doctor recommended Tepezza, a prescription medicine for thyroid eye disease, and I didn't have to hide so much.
In a clinical study, more than 8 out of 10 patients taking Tepezza had less eye bulging, and nearly 7 out of 10 saw improvements in double vision. Tepezza is an infused medicine. Patients taking Tepezza may experience infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you have symptoms such as high blood pressure, fast heartbeat, shortness of breath, or muscle pain. Before receiving Tepezza, tell your doctor if you have diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD, or are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Tepezza may raise your blood sugar even if you do not have diabetes and may worsen IBD such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis.
I look more like my old self again. Now I wear sunglasses because I want to.
Ask your doctor if Tepezza is right for you and visit mytepezza.com to see Jeannie's before and after photos.
Snacking could mean that pieces get stuck under Mike's denture. But Super Polygrip gives him a tight seal to help block out food particles so he can enjoy the game. Super Polygrip.
Although it seems like any ordinary day, it isn't. For one extraordinary reason. Because now with Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited on 2 or more lines for $29.99 a line. This is a huge deal that'll make you feel larger than life. Get unlimited from Spectrum Mobile for just $29.99 with nationwide 5G included. Call 1-844-683-2999. It's the biggest news in mobile with the best deal ever. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for only $29.99 with no contracts, added taxes, or hidden fees, and nationwide 5G included. Save up to 60% on your mobile bill. Get gigantic savings with unlimited from Spectrum Mobile for just $29.99. Call 1-844-683-2999 or visit a store near you. Switch today and you too will feel larger than life.
Be turned into handbags. And can feeding cows seaweed help change the world? If you have questions about the climate, rely on the most trusted name in television, the Weather Channel and its innovative pattern climate team. Together, we can start to make sense of the most important issue facing our future every day on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 52 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, overcast, slight chance of a rain shower. Low 52, winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday, cloudy skies will become partly cloudy for the afternoon, near record high temperatures, high 61. Thursday night, skies clearing overnight, low 55, winds west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Breaking right now, we're continuing to track numerous tornado warnings, most of which are now in Iowa. You're looking live here. This is in Kingsley, Iowa, one of our storm trackers, and you can see some of the damage that is already occurring. A lot of lightning. You can see some active lightning strikes. This is to the north and east of Sioux City, Iowa. So this is where that line of storms that has multiple tornado warnings on it is starting to move through. Now, we've got a couple of different issues and concerns here, not just the threat of tornadoes, but also of straight line damaging winds, some of which will be associated with thunderstorms, but some of which will be not associated with thunderstorms at all behind that line. So we don't want folks to let their guard down because we've got a long evening ahead of us with the threat of strong and damaging winds. We want to get right to our meteorologist, Chris Warren. He is on the radar tonight. And Chris, it's difficult to keep up with these warnings because these storms are moving so fast that our warnings are only lasting about 15-20.
Yeah, and that's why I really just want to say that if you're, within this line, treat it like a tornado warning, because by the time you get the warning that it's a tornado warning, it might be too late because there's so much going on right now, and the line itself can be damaging just like a tornado. So what that camera we were just looking at, here's Sioux City, here's Pearson, and that camera was, I believe, somewhere in here. And you can see what's going on right now on the radar. So somewhere, I think, in here is where that camera was with all of the lightning going on around it. Again, this is one of many tornado warnings. And as Jackie mentioned, it is one after another associated with this big area of low pressure. So right now, I think the safest thing to say is if you are in western Iowa, anywhere in here, prepare for a tornado. Anywhere along this line, prepare for straight line winds that could be damaging like a tornado. These winds are extremely strong. We've seen already some winds gusting just associated with this big area of low pressure. Some of these winds gusting closer to 100 miles an hour. And some of these individual storms are moving about 75 to 80 miles an hour. And within that line, there's these little spin ups. So here's out ahead of it, Atlantic. It is heading your way right now. Again, a tornado warning currently. And one scan, there might be a really obvious spin. Another one, there might not be. These happen very quickly. Again, back up here. This is southeast now of Sioux City in Cherokee, Ida, and Plymouth counties. Now Sioux Center, Spencer. Eventually, the storms are heading your way. Farther on down the line here, Topeka, Maryville. Again, the tornado warnings embedded within this line or within severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, this whole line has the potential for bringing some damaging winds. And you can see that right here, big area of low pressure. To give you an idea how quickly this is going to be moving, the high resolution future radar shows that Des Moines in the next couple of hours, we're going to see it moving toward you. Minneapolis as well. A lot of these areas in Minnesota have snow on the ground, by the way, with a very potent area of low pressure. And again, all within this, Jackie, there are strong winds whipping up and around this area area of low pressure.
Yeah, hey, Chris, I just want to mention that Atlantic tornado that you were talking about, that warning there in Cass County in southwestern Iowa. We now have an observed and confirmed tornado with that one. So if you live in Atlantic, if you live in Griswold, if you live in Marnie, you need to be taking shelter right now and get to your safe place. So this is starting to get a little bit closer to the Des Moines metro area right now, where they've already seen some very strong wind gusts out ahead of the main line of storms that's going to be pushing on through. That's where we find our meteorologist Mike Seidel with a closer look at what's happening right now. And Mike, I know you are nearby a shelter so that you can get to a safe place, because those storms are just about on top of you. They're getting close.
Yeah, about 70 miles away from the Atlantic tornado that's been confirmed. So I'm keeping an eye on the radar. We've got our safe place here at the hotel. We're going to be watching this area here out to the west and southwest, right across the runways at the Des Moines airport. That's where it's going to be coming from. We'll see some lightning. There's not a lot of lightning, not like sometimes you see in the summertime. Although today, with temperatures in the mid-70s, just incredible. It feels like April here. The average high today, 36. It was almost 40 degrees warmer. So we're going to watch the radar and keep you safe. We've got those tornado warnings that Chris has just mentioned. Cass County, those areas about 70 miles from us. So we're giving this until about 5:30, 5:45, about 45 minutes or so. That line's going to be on top of us. It's quick hitting, but it's potent. We've had wind gusts to 92, 93 miles an hour in Lincoln, Nebraska. Stand with us, continuing coverage throughout this evening right here on the Weather Channel.
At America's Best, you can get 2 pairs of glasses and a free eye exam starting at just $69.95. 2 pairs, and they don't even have to be identical. In fact, 1 pair can be practical and sturdy, while the other pair is super stylish and wildly good-looking. Not that it's a contest or anything. 2 pairs and a free quality eye exam starting at just $69.95. The exam alone is worth at least $50. Book yours today at americasbest.com. The silent type, I see.
William Hayes is here to help. He helps find what his customers need. And that includes helping them find the best prices on medications at their pharmacy with GoodRx.
Have you tried GoodRx?
Actually, that's a good idea.
You can save a lot of money with it. Look, you save $60 a month. You're all set?
Thank you.
Glad I could help.
You're good with GoodRx.
A ride to treatment. A free place to stay. A helpline when you need it. These seem like little things. But to a person with cancer, they're everything. 1 in 3 of us will be diagnosed with cancer. Donate to the American Cancer Society and help patients in need get the care they need. Donate today.
'Twas the holiday season and joy filled the town, except for Scrooge, with his perma-frown. The gift of a Peloton bike did touch his soul. Riding fast, flowing proud, getting hella swole.
You can do it! I'm doing it!
Was Scrooge a new man?
Yeah!
Oh, without doubt. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
What's better than giving a better phone this holiday season? Oh, I know. Giving a better phone on a better network. How much better? Ranked #1 in network reliability 16 times in a row better. The most awarded for network quality a whopping 27 times by J.D. Power better. Yeah. And Verizon is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction for small business wireless service better. This round's on me. Holiday better with 5G from America's most reliable network, because everyone deserves better.
At Napa, we keep things moving. If it has wheels and an engine, we help keep it on the road. And if it's on the road, we have parts for it. And if you need a part, you can get it fast. At Napa, when we're not thinking about cars, we're thinking about the people who drive them. Because when it comes to serving you and our community, our motor never quits.
Innovation usually looks something like this. But what if it didn't?
What if it looked like a family truck that powers a family home? Or an ordinary drive made extraordinary? Let's change what innovation looks like. From floating around in your own personal space capsule up here to what we could build for all Americans down here.
Breaking right now on the Weather Channel, tracking a dangerous storm right now, a big area of low pressure in the heartland that has a lot of tornado warnings associated with it and a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. Here is the big wind maker that is creating some very strong and damaging winds across several states, and it's the leading edge of this where there's also severe weather ongoing right now, damaging winds, possible tornadoes, and a lot of and frequent lightning associated with this line. There's a potent system. Also, there's snow we're going to get to in a moment as well. Here's Atlantic, where there was some obvious spin a little bit earlier here. And this, again, somewhere in here is likely where that tornado is currently located. And the storms to the north also cruising along, some of these going 75 to even 80 miles an hour. This one, Plymouth and Woodbury. The wider look, again, we're going to check back with meteorologist Mike Seidel, who is live in Des Moines, Iowa, and these storms heading in his direction. And all along this line, you look at this, it's not a perfect, you look at the yellow, it's not a perfect straight line, right, where some of the heavier rain is. There are these ins and the outs, and every once in a while, some of these notches are where there is spin going on, and that's where there may be an embedded tornado. Again, tornado warning stretching all the way along up to this point, here and up here. So huge stretches here, possibly rotating. And so when you do it like that, it's almost the entire line has spin involved in it. Maryville as well here, getting into the northwest part of Missouri. Heads up, severe thunderstorm warning for you and a tornado warning as well. Here in Jackson, Jefferson, and Shawnee, severe thunderstorm warning currently in effect and moving near Topeka as well, just outside of Topeka. There's that tornado warning that includes Maryville, Iowa, and Polk for parts of Andrew, Holt, and Nottoway counties. And again, the big view showing a big line of severe weather that is heading off to the east. When we look at the high-resolution future radar, Central Time, here's 6 o'clock. Let's see how this plays out. You can see through Des Moines by about 7, maybe sooner. These are moving very fast. Some nasty weather heading to Minneapolis. Areas in Minnesota with snow on the ground could have severe weather. Continuing on through time here, 9 o'clock in the evening, the storm still has a pretty thin line associated with it. Again, the tornado threat exists where there is snow. There has been snow lately and some still on the ground. Today into tonight, it is very likely we're going to be seeing some severe weather. We are seeing that right now. Another look at our Torcons here is high of 5 here. Again, the bigger the number, the bigger the threat going into this evening. Tornado watches. The Storm Prediction Center has issued watches, meaning that conditions are favorable, and this includes Des Moines down to Kansas City for either severe weather or tornadoes. And really, this whole northern part of the line has spins associated with it. So let's go back right now to get some perspective live from Des Moines, Iowa with meteorologist Mike Seidel. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Chris, we're watching the skies as they get dark. Of course, the sun sets awfully early here in December. I want to show you how fast these clouds are moving over us here on the avenue just outside the airport, Fleur Boulevard. Look at the speed here. And remember, the winds aloft are much stronger. Incredible dynamic system with a very strong jet. And that wind's going to get mixed down. Even after the squall line goes through, we're going to have strong winds as we go through 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock tonight. So just because the front's coming through or the squall line, it's not over with. A lot of times the winds back off and you can rest easy, but we're going to have the straight line winds continuing to cause issues. Power lines, trees coming down on power lines already in the area. Colorado, New Mexico, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and also in parts of Iowa. We've got over 250,000 customers without power. Those numbers are going up very rapidly. You can see the spin in the atmosphere. So that squall line is coming in from this direction, looking over the airport runways. We just saw a plane take off. Looked like it was hanging in there. We just talked to a couple pilots. They're supposed to take off in about an hour, and they're watching, obviously, the weather very closely. So a very dark, ominous sky. Still a little too far away to see any lightning at this point. We're still about 60 or so miles away from the leading edge. So I say we're going to time this out. I'm on the southwest side of Des Moines. It's 5:03 Central Time. I'm thinking around 5:30 to 5:45 it comes in here. Now remember, we have that Torcon of 5. We've got several tornado warnings. We've had at least a couple actually cited. So the tornado threat will continue until the line goes through. Now, once the line goes through again, just want to reemphasize, we're not done with the wind, Jackie. We're going to have those strong winds into at least later on this evening, and that means more damage potential and also more power outages. The other thing that's going to change, today we set the all-time December high temperature in the mid-70s, but Jackie, by tomorrow morning, we're going to be down around 30 with a wind chill about 20. So you go from the short sleeve polo shirt to the parka tomorrow morning here in Des Moines. Jackie?
Really some wild weather, that's for sure, and what may be unprecedented in some areas. Thanks so much, Mike Seidel, reporting live for us in Des Moines. Got about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. I just talked to my girlfriend in West Des Moines, and I told her, just get to your basement and hang out there and wait for the storms to be over with. But Mike makes a really good point that while the worst of the winds are likely going to be with this squall, back in here, we could still see some wind gusts, 40, 60 miles per hour, and that can cause damage, and especially if this line already brings compromised conditions, kind of hanging tree limbs or partial damage to homes, keep in mind that it's going to take less wind, and that's what we could see back behind it to cause additional damage. So huge squall line that stretches over 350 miles with wall-to-wall warnings upon them. I would treat all the warnings today like tornado warnings because the winds are that strong, as much as 70, maybe as much as 90 miles per hour as they rock on through. This is a look at all the damage reports just in the last 6 hours. And notice that that line still hasn't even hit the Des Moines metro area yet. And we're getting wind damage out ahead of it that aren't even related to some of the thunderstorms. This is not just an Iowa, Nebraska problem right now. This has been ongoing all day. We've had 100+ mile per hour wind gusts in parts of Colorado today along the Front Range. So this is going to be a quick moving system. That's the good news out of all this, but it's going to be widespread. If you're in the path of that squall line at all, it is likely you're going to get damaging winds, and be prepared to lose power as a result as well. Embedded within there, we've got our tornado warnings, and that risk is going to continue here through the evening. Torcons of 4 and 5. This is very unusual to get tornadoes or even have that risk this time of the year that far north. We would expect them more into the mid or the deep south, not into Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska. Minnesota has never recorded a tornado in the month of December. That could happen later on this evening. We'll see. Right now, a lot of that energy is ripping through Iowa, but southern Minnesota, incredible to see torcons on top of where we have some of that snowpack. So as we time this out moving forward for the rest of the evening and tonight, I just want you to remember that our models are a little bit slow, I think, with this. So be prepared ahead of time. Don't wait, because these storms are moving as much as 80 miles per hour and beyond. We even had one tornado that was moving at 100 miles per hour in Nebraska earlier on. So you cannot outrun these. You cannot outdrive these things. Get off the road. Stay at home tonight. This pushes into Wisconsin by 8, 9 o'clock, across parts of Illinois beyond that. Midnight, even though the storms are out of here, we're still going to have some strong winds that are going to last till maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, Chris. And then we'll watch those winds slowly but gradually begin to die down. And the temperature begins to drop. I mean, we have near blizzard conditions right now in parts of Nebraska and South Dakota. It's a big mess out there as well, with snow squall warnings.
It is absolutely amazing right now to see all that's going on. Look at this. Could you imagine what it would be like to be in that big rig? Cheyenne, Wyoming here, this courtesy of the Wyoming Department of Transportation. The clouds overhead, not a raindrop inside. It's these strong winds associated with the same area of low pressure that's creating the severe weather right now in the heartland. And look, you don't really notice the winds until, of course, and obviously the truck goes over, broadside blow here, and then it hits the ground. See how the dust going up? some serious and intense winds. This looks more like a tropical storm right now. And I don't even know if there's even, I think that is rain too. But with the thunderstorms that have been coming through, we've been seeing scenes like this where it's been dust instead of rain. But this here in Lincoln appears to be some of the rain as the storms were going through. So getting new video into the Weather Channel right now, trying to give you the overall view, the overall perspective with exactly what we're dealing with. We're looking at the wind threat in terms of the severe weather and just the area of low pressure itself. This is phenomenal to see the extent of the high wind warnings that are currently in place from West Texas, the Panhandle of Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, all the way over to Michigan. The entire state of Wisconsin, almost the entire state of Iowa, almost the entire state of South Dakota, the entire state of Nebraska, most of Kansas, the eastern half of Colorado, under high wind warnings, expecting dangerous winds associated with the area of low pressure. And within this area, within that area is this tornado threat. Severe thunderstorm threat here. Severe thunderstorm watches, tornado watches here. This is showing us now where parts of Nebraska at the same time today, there is critical fire potential. All wind driven. Ahead of the front, though, there is some very warm air as well. So these winds are serious, and they have been serious. Lamar, Colorado, today, a wind report of 107 miles an hour, and that's getting out into the plains. Now, Boulder 91, the Air Force Academy 100. These are some very strong winds, upwards of hurricane force winds. With all of those reports, this makes sense. Now, up to more than 310,000 customers without power in Colorado, where the winds hit first, at least some of the strongest winds hit first, the lion's share, over 108,000. Here's a look at some of the latest reports here. Wichita gusting to 53. Dodge City gusting to 31, heading up closer to the low. Again, there's going to be stronger winds associated with the front of the line here as it moves into Iowa. But just ahead of it, the warm winds coming out of the south, gusting to 40. The cold winds coming out of the north and northwest, gusting to 55 in North Platte. Absolutely amazing here, Jackie, to see the difference just with Nebraska as sort of the template for every type of weather we can see.
Just incredible. We've seen that before where we have severe weather and snow very close together, but I don't know if you recall, I don't recall ever having a setup where we have snow on the ground and a tornado risk as well.
Yeah, I think it's hard to overestimate how big and how powerful this low is.
So many aspects of it. So widespread too, right? And such a fast mover. You know, any one of these individual hazards is dangerous and kind of scary overall. But when you think of all the different elements together on this, it's kind of mind-boggling. So take the warning seriously today. Want to time things out for you. We'll go back into the Des Moines metro area, talk about your risk here. The farther south you are, the lower your risk is, but you still have torcons of 2 and 3 in places like Ottumwa. So the latest timing of all of this, we just updated our high-res future radar, bringing it into the Des Moines metro area. I think this still could be off a little bit slow. So I would be prepared by about, 20 minutes ahead of what this is saying. So I would say be ready more like 6:30, 6:45. Marshalltown, Waterloo, this could be moving through by 7, 8 o'clock, heading towards Iowa City and then working towards the Quad Cities, maybe 9, 10 o'clock for tonight. But one of the big things we just really want to point out is look at the winds continuing even after the storms stop. So your storms will likely be done by about 8 o'clock or so, but we could still have 50 to 60 mile per hour winds continuing through perhaps midnight, even 1 o'clock in the morning, and still breezy beyond that into tomorrow. What about the Twin Cities? You know, the storm's still a little ways away for you. You've got torcons of 2 and 3 here. Northern parts of the metro look a little bit better maybe than southern parts of the metro. And here we go. By 7, 8 o'clock, we're expecting that line of storms to begin to push through the area. Damaging winds, a good possibility. A few embedded tornadoes will be possible. So this is one of the areas where you've got snow on the ground, and we're talking about severe weather likely rocking through your area. You had record highs here, too, across southern parts of Minnesota into the 50s, not quite the 70s that they saw in Iowa. That's the difference the snowpack can make there, Chris.
Take a look now at the overall big picture as it relates to the severe weather in Iowa. And right now, from the southern border with Missouri all the way up to Minnesota, there is a very dangerous line of storms within an area Storm Prediction Center has highlighted as conditions favorable for the development of tornadoes. Tornado warnings, meaning tornadoes are either happening or about to happen at any moment. It's imminent. Now Des Moines getting closer to being under that threat, as you see right here, getting close with the severe thunderstorm warnings. And what we've been seeing quite often is that the warnings for severe weather, damaging winds out ahead of the main line, and then when the National Weather Service office sees that there's some spin going on within that line, then the tornado warning is issued. So we see a couple of tornado warnings here in Missouri and several right here in Iowa, including this one, which is just west, about a county and a half away from Des Moines, Audubon, Cass, and Guthrie counties. This is until 5:45, and this is the one that did have an observed tag on it. So dangerous storm right now. If you have a tornado warning on your phone, on your weather radio, take cover now.
It's all gone, son.
Oh no, Sam's. This one.
Again.
Let go of your umbrella, 'cause darling, I'm just trying.
What's all this?
You can't have a bookstore without books.
Thank you all so much.
Of all the things that made Scrooge pout, he most disliked running and striding about. Until he discovered the Peloton tread. Sprinting and lifting sweat dripped from his head.
Good things happen to those who hustle.
His legs sang out like a Christmas choir. This grunt was hashtag on fire. Now Scrooge ran the holidays, no doubt. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
When the unthinkable happens, good neighbors show up. For 100 years, State Farm has been among the first to arrive, with the latest technology and tools to help you recover faster. State Farm has been there before, and will be there again and again. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
1, 2, 3. People say that we don't know what love is or how to make it.
Wait, hold on, Kurt.
All right, everybody stand up straight.
Okay, now let me flip it.
Oh, babe. I got you, babe. I got you, baby.
It's my 405. The show must go on. Migraine medicine. It's Ubrelvy for anytime, anywhere migraine strikes without worrying if it's too late or where I am. One dose can quickly stop my migraine in its tracks within 2 hours.
Unlike older medicines, Ubrelvy is a pill that directly blocks CGRP protein, believed to be a cause of migraine. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Most common side effects were nausea and tiredness.
Ask about Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine.
I need you to see.
To all the kisses that led to this one. Celebrate every kiss with Kay.
Since retirement, I've been trying a lot of new things with Frank's Red Hot. It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat, like me. And it's great on all the recipes I've mastered. I put that on everything.
Come on!
You've never seen anything like this before.
The road home for the holidays, where the ultimate driving machine becomes the ultimate cruise through 3 states machine.
the ultimate zip around the corner from mom's cooking machine, and even the ultimate we couldn't get out of there any faster machine. Because at BMW, we know every holiday looks different. So we created the ultimate whatever your road home looks like machine. Hurry in to receive a credit of up to $2,500 through January 3rd.
Finding your new favorite spot. Piece of, no, you really have to try this cake.
Wow.
Get exclusive access to sought-after restaurants. One of the many reasons you're with Amex Platinum.
Currently in our area, 52 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, periods of light rain early. Low 52. Chance of rain 70%. Thursday, mostly cloudy skies. Near record high temperatures. High 61. Thursday night, skies clearing overnight. Low 55. Winds west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Can a bus stop save the bees? How can trash be turned into handbags? And can feeding cows seaweed help change the world? If you have questions about the climate, there's one place to find the answers. Rely on the most trusted name in television, the Weather Channel, and its innovative pattern climate team. Together, we can start to make sense of the most important issue facing our future. Every day on the Weather Channel.
Breaking right now, we are continuing to track a line of severe weather, including damaging winds in excess of 80 miles per hour and tornadoes as well. We've got multiple warnings in effect as this powerful system works its way across southern Minnesota into Iowa, stretching down into Kansas and Missouri as well. We've got a lot of active warnings right now. Wall-to-wall tornado warnings almost covering north to south here in the state of Iowa. And this line is ripping eastward very quickly. There is not a lot of time to seek shelter with these, so you need to get to your safe place well in advance of when these warnings hit. Now, we've got a dangerous situation unfolding here that we want to talk about into central Iowa, just on the west side of the Des Moines metro area, including you in Guthrie Center. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, as we are getting reports of an observed tornado here to the west of Guthrie Center. So this includes you in Dallas, Greene, and Guthrie counties until 6 o'clock local time, and it's somewhere within this area that we're seeing some of that strong rotation. Switching over to our velocity mode so we can see some of those winds. Now, I did see a pretty strong signature just in that commercial break, but I'm not seeing it as prominently right now. But there are several areas within here that we could be having rotating storms. In addition to that, we've got a lot of rain associated with this and strong gusty winds. So if and when there is a tornado, it is going to be very difficult to see that. Trust the warnings here tonight for sure. Now, we've got multiple warnings to the north of there as well, including you up towards Audubon into Carroll, stretching farther to the north until 5:45 for you in Anita and Exira. We were seeing that strong signature near Exira earlier also. Now, notice we've got the yellow box here too. That is a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's now been issued in advance of that line that includes the Des Moines metro area. So I know the sirens are sounding in some of these areas. I know they're sounding right now in spots that don't have tornado warnings on them. For example, in Story County, which is just north of Des Moines, that's because the winds are likely going to be around 80 miles per hour, all within that squall line. So I would treat all warnings tonight as tornado warnings and get to your safe place, the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. So let's time this out right now and see when that that line is going to make its way towards Des Moines here, because we want to give you a better idea, because the timing has been a little bit changeable because the speeds of the storms have been a little bit varying, but also extremely fast. So there you can see the latest showing that squall line could be arriving in Des Moines maybe just after 6 o'clock. I would be in my safe place right now. Ames about the same timing for you as well as into Colfax. So get to your safe place. Again, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. This is a really strong, impressive line of storms that has been tracking eastward. This developed about the early afternoon hours around 2, 3 o'clock, and it has been holding strong ever since that time. Want to take you down into Kansas and Missouri. This is St. Joseph. Kansas City is about right there at the bottom of your screen, where we've got a new tornado warning here for Atchison, Buchanan, and Donovan counties. That includes you in St. Joe, as well as Country Club and Shannon. That's until 5:30. So St. Joe, that is just off to your west at this time. And then severe thunderstorm warnings extending south of there through Leavenworth and over towards Excelsior Springs. And we want to get to our meteorologist, Mike Seidel. And Mike, I know that line is off towards the west of you right now, but you've got to be feeling those winds already, and probably going to need to take shelter here pretty soon too, Mike.
Yes, we've got our safe place over here at the hotel, and we will be heading over there shortly. We're keeping an eye off to the south and west across the runways and the airport here in Des Moines. We're on the southwest side. So far, I'm still looking for my first flash of lightning. So we're not, it's not imminent, but certainly in the next half an hour, there is now a severe thunderstorm warning for all of Metro Des Moines, the whole area, until 6:30. These storms are moving east at 80 miles an hour. That's crazy, 80 miles an hour, so you can't outrun them. And a good point that Jackie mentioned is treat all these storms like they are tornado warned. Even though we are under a severe thunderstorm warning, we're assuming that there could be a spin up. These things are spinning up so fast, it's really hard with the scans for the Weather Service to get all the, it's a lot of work. It's not like watching a tornado like last Friday that's been on the ground for miles and miles. So just assume all these storms are extremely dangerous, not only from the tornado factor, but straight line winds could gust up to or over 80 miles an hour. We've seen plenty of that this evening. The rain impact is going to be minimal. These things are moving so fast, the line is so narrow that it's not going to be a problem. It's all about the wind, potential structural damage. As I mentioned earlier, already over 250,000 customers without power, so trees and power lines down, power outages here in the Des Moines area, and then points east. And even once the line goes through, we're going to have strong winds right on through later on this evening. We're staying with you right on through this evening on the Weather Channel. An update coming up after a break on the tornado threat as we head east tonight.
First psoriasis, then psoriatic arthritis.
Even walking was tough.
I had to do something. I started Cosentix.
Cosentix can help you move, look, and feel better by treating the multiple symptoms of psoriatic arthritis. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections, some serious, and the lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor about an infection or symptoms, or if you've had a vaccine or plan to. Tell your doctor if your Crohn's disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
Watch me.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentix.
Scrooge got strong in his legs and his core.
Heart Peloton.
And every day he discovered more. Scrooge is on a roll, you'd hear him shout. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
I'd do anything for you, dear. Anything for you, mean everything to me. I know that I'd go anywhere for your smile. Everywhere, yes, I do. Anything for you.
For anything on your pet's wish list. PetSmart, anything for pets.
Only Wendy's serves a better breakfast with a better biscuit. A hot, buttery treasure loaded with a fresh cracked egg, cheese, and sausage or bacon. And to top it off right now, they're just $1. $1? Now there's no reason to go somewhere else. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Our strength, our power, our purpose starts within. So let's start there. With collagen that supports our body from the inside out.
What's better than giving a better phone this holiday season? It's giving a better phone on a better network. Ranked #1 in network reliability 16 times in a row better. Holiday better with 5G from America's most reliable network.
I would just fly, fly away.
This is Franklin Graham. Samaritan's Purse is responding to the victims of the recent tornadoes. We've seen the destruction. It's incredible what has happened. So much loss of life, mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and children. The important thing is that we help one another, put our arms around one another and comfort one another. Samaritan's Purse will be there helping to clean up for months to come. We're going to need volunteers. If you'd like to know how you can be involved, call that number that's on the screen or go to the website. God bless you. Thank you.
When the hands that do the fixing need fixing. When the hands that do the caring need caring. That's a job for O'Keeffe's Working Hands. It's America's #1 selling hand cream and guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked hands. Also available in O'Keeffe's Lip Repair.
S.C. Johnson.
Climate change is uncovering ground that has never been seen before.
Greenland is probably the largest untapped gold reserve in the entire world.
We all gave up so much to come here.
If gold was easy to find, everybody would do it.
Get the gold, dude.
New video into the Weather Channel where you can see and hear the powerful winds that have been rocking through eastern Nebraska and now working their way across parts of Iowa. Wind gusts reported as strong as 93 miles per hour as this blew through Omaha. Spotty damage, mostly tree damage and some power outages across the metro area. And now you've got strong winds that are going to continue here through the evening as well. Got a lot going on tonight with a very vigorous upper low that's working its way through the Midwest. Very unusual to have such an extreme event taking place in this part of the country this time of the year. We've got many tornado warnings that are in effect right now from nearly the Iowa-Minnesota state line all the way down into parts of Missouri. But the main line is right here working its way towards the Des Moines metro area. And that's one of the concerns that we have here at this hour. So we want to get you through some of these warnings that stretch from Spencer all the way down into parts of Dallas County. There have been some reports of tornadoes tonight that have caused some damage. They've been short-lived tornadoes, one of which has been crossing Interstate 80 earlier and flipped over a tractor trailer, very likely. But this whole line I would be treating as a tornado warning, even if you're under the severe thunderstorm warning, because it gives you an idea of just how strong and how powerful those winds are. Now, we did have a report of a tornado on the north and west side of Guthrie Center. That's one of the areas that we're watching very closely right now. That area of rotation is now north and east of the city. These storms are moving so quickly. You can't outrun them. You can't outdrive them. You just need to get to your safe place well before these warnings are issued here. It's one of those afternoon evenings where it's just a good idea if you have a basement just to hang out there, you know, play video games, read books, watch the Weather Channel, and be down there with the kids. So that's the concern. And you can see the warning still indicating observed for Dallas, Greene, and Guthrie County. So Panora and Perry, you're next in line. That jumps out at me right there. That's one of the areas that I'm watching. Within that line south of there, I'm not seeing a whole lot, just some very strong winds. So there may be a couple of different areas of embedded rotation. That's to the north and east of Bayard. So you do want to take your tornado precautions. This is what we call correlation coefficient. And when you see everything solid the same color, you know that that's just uniform rainfall. But when we start to see some of those little dropouts or those little ticks, that tells us that there might be something else. We know the strong winds certainly going to be blowing things around like trees and branches and that type of thing. So that's going to be the concern going forward because there have been a lot of reports of that already from Nebraska through Iowa, even in advance of that main line. So I want to time things out for you here and give you a better idea of when that main line might be hitting the Des Moines metro area. We know you've already had strong enough wind gusts in Johnston, which is north and west of Des Moines, well ahead of the main line that caused some spotty power outages in that area. So the latest timing right now we think is for Perry at 5:43, moving through Waukee at 5:52, Des Moines at 6:07, Altoona at 6:13, and then working its way towards Newton at 5:34. So again, I just want to urge you all to treat the severe thunderstorm warning for the Des Moines metro area as a tornado warning, because Chris, there could be little spin-ups embedded within this line, but in addition to that, winds could be as strong as 80 miles per hour or so, and we've seen, unfortunately, over and over again in Iowa, for example, what kind of damage those types of wind can cause. It can be as much sometimes as tornado damage.
That's right. And I want to give you the big picture here, the overall look at this storm, just how big it is right now and what's going on with it. So as we look at the radar, you can see the blue. This is all snow. These are cold northerly winds coming down. And this is also some strong winds coming out of the southwest and out ahead of it more southerly. But right here, that interaction is where the severe weather and tornado threat is right now. Tornado watch is now getting extended from the Storm Prediction Center. They now include parts of Illinois. They include the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and St. Paul in a tornado watch. La Crosse, Wisconsin, also over into parts of western Illinois. Also severe thunderstorm watches in effect. This is the overall look at the storm with some of the lightning associated with it. There's quite a bit. Plenty of instability here in December, all the way up to Wisconsin and into parts of Minnesota. You get in dew points into 50 to 60, and there's plenty of moisture here for thunderstorms. It's like the fuel, much drier air and windier air coming in behind that. So that threat continues, severe weather.
I was thinking maybe...
Your mom's car. You up for a little night work? Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Kevin.
What do we want for dinner?
Burgers! I want a sugar cookie! I want a bucket of chicken! I want...
It's the easiest because it's the cheesiest. Kraft for the win-win.
With Ring Alarm this holiday season, deck the halls, walls, doors, and windows with protection and peace of mind. Protect your home with Ring Alarm. Get your Ring Alarm today. Shop holiday deals now at ring.com.
Ashley Home Store is bringing your favorite styles home for the holidays. Going on now, get up to 25% off. Or receive special financing for 60 months. Shop and save today. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
This is Antonelli's Cheese Shop, and we're the Antonellis.
We chose our new Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One because we earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase.
And with no preset spending limit, our purchasing power adapts to our business needs. What's in your wallet?
Shop the FE Holiday event at Macy's with 30 to 50% off fine jewelry. Plus shop super buys like gemstones and diamonds, beautiful diamond cluster rings, and this amazing emerald pendant and ring. Give the gift of sparkle at Macy's.
Of all the things that made Scrooge pout, he most disliked running and striding about. Until he discovered the Peloton tread. Sprinting and lifting sweat dripped from his head.
Good things happen to those who hustle.
His legs sang out like a Christmas choir. This grunt was #on fire. Now Scrooge ran the holidays, no doubt. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
Dunkin' is here with your holiday helpers. Peppermint mocha and toasted white chocolate signature lattes. A touch of delicious holiday magic to help you seize the season. Sip through the holidays with signature lattes at Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'.
Rated everyone.
Kyle wrote there's literally nothing to do but play games in VR. Well, Kyle,
How about experiencing a couple of years on the ISS?
Whoa, you guys seeing this?
Affirmative. Kyle doesn't get it.
These little cups would make great stocking stuffers. But how about right now in your mouth stuffers? Happy holidays to your mouth. Not sorry. Reese's.
The Weather Channel and its climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
Breaking right now, we have several tornado warnings in effect across the state of Iowa, one of which has a confirmed tornado on it right now. We're seeing confirmation on Doppler radar and hearing reports now as well that there is likely a tornado with that storm. So we'll take you right now into that area. This is in the north and west of the Des Moines area, and we've got two different areas we're actually keeping our eye on. First of all, Dallas, Greene, and Guthrie counties. That includes you in Perry, and then also up here towards Jefferson, and that's where we're concerned about here. Jefferson for Audubon, Carroll, and Greene counties. That would include you in Coon Rapids, Glidden, and Jefferson until 6 o'clock. There you can see the tag where it says observe. So we'll take you over to our correlation coefficient, and it actually looks like there may be two different areas of rotation, one on the north side of Jefferson and one now which is almost due east. This is Highway 30. That's a pretty busy highway there in central Iowa, and this is just about to cross over Highway 30 to the east of Jefferson. If you know anyone that's in that area right now, please make sure that they are getting to their safe place immediately, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. We've had a lot of little areas of rotation embedded within that line. This is 144 right there between Dana and Rippey. That's the area that we're talking about right here. This is pushing to the north and east, and it's moving very quickly, likely 70 to 80 miles per hour. So it's not going to take very long for this to cross Highway 30 and then work its way over eventually towards Highway 169. So a dangerous situation there just south of Highway 30 near Jefferson. This is in Carroll and in Greene counties. Now, there are multiple warnings all up to the north of here as well, including you in Calhoun, Carroll, and Sac counties. That's where we're seeing a radar indicated tornado, including you in Lighton. And then north of there, this is a brand new tornado warning that's just been issued, including you in Humboldt and Pocahontas County, including the city of Pocahontas until 6 o'clock. And then north of there, including the town of Spencer, we've got a tornado warning for you in Clay County until 5:45. So all embedded within this line, we may get these little spin ups. And take a look at what's happening down here. Ooh, these concern me. We've got some strong storms, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right around the Missouri-Iowa state line. I want to zoom in on those to get a better look at what's going on here, because we're definitely starting to see those mature with maybe a little bit of a hook feature down towards Grant City here, and then another one down near Cooper and Savannah. St. Joseph, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, and so is Kansas City. There we go, getting tornado possible tags on some of these. So there you can see, looks like the National Weather Service is also seeing signs that there may be a little bit of rotation with those storms as well. We want to get out live right now to our meteorologist, Mike Seidel. Mike, you've been in Des Moines here all afternoon and evening now. The winds have been picking up here in the last hour already. Still some damage even before that line moves on through. What's the latest? What are you seeing?
We've seen a few flashes of lightning off to our south and west. That's the direction the storms are coming through from. And I don't know if you can hear the sirens. They just set the sirens off for the second time. We're not under a tornado warning, but we're in a situation where we have a very high risk that we could get a spin up within the severe thunderstorm warning. You can look at the radar, and those storms are racing east-northeast. So it's going to be a little later where we are on the southwest side of Des Moines. All the tornado warnings right now are north and west of Des Moines. Everything south and southwest of Des Moines, all the way down to KC, are severe thunderstorm warnings. That doesn't mean we can't have a tornado. I'm just saying that the instability and all the spin-ups and the tornadoes that we've seen have been west and north of Des Moines, like we're seeing right now out around Perry. And I've seen some video of a tornado crossing the road earlier. So here in Des Moines, this metro area, the severe thunderstorm warning continues until 6:30. Again, straight line winds as high as 80 miles an hour are likely. Trees, power lines down, maybe some structural damage, a brief shot of heavy rainfall and some lightning. Even though the squall line will go through, we will have strong winds continuing behind that as we go through this evening. Right on through late this evening, the high wind warning continues until midnight tonight. So just because the front is coming through and the storms move through, unlike in the summertime, this is a very dynamic system. It's all wound up, so the wind is not going to go away right away. Seeing some lightning flashes, Chris, and we're about ready to move to our safe location. We'll keep you updated here on the Weather Channel as the winds pick up here outside of the airport here in Des Moines. Chris?
All right, meteorologist Mike Seidel, thank you for that.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Mike. We want to update you on the latest radar. I know, Chris, you're watching it. I'm watching it. There's a lot going on tonight. We got tornado warnings just north and west of Des Moines and the severe thunderstorm warning with the sirens going off right now in Des Moines proper. If we could show the radar here, I really want to track this out and time this out and give you another idea of just how quick that squall line is going to be pushing through there, likely reaching Des Moines around 5:58. So just before the top of the hour. If you're not in your safe place right now, you need to get there. Waukee, this is just about on top of you right now. This is going to be affecting Indianola as well as Colfax and Newton, Iowa right now. We are going to continue to track these tornadoes and damaging winds right after this.
This is Antonelli's Cheese Shop, and we're the Antonellis.
We chose our new Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One because we earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase.
And with no preset spending limit, our purchasing power adapts to our business needs. What's in your wallet?
Snacking could mean that pieces get stuck under Mike's denture. But Super Poly Grip gives him a tight seal to help block out food particles, so he can enjoy the game. Super Poly Grip.
There's nothing like the tasty fluffiness of Pearl Milling Company pancakes to celebrate good days and sweeten magical ones. Whenever you need us, our perfectly fluffy, syrupy goodness will be there. We're Pearl Milling Company. Stack up the moments.
What's my safe flight story? I spend a lot of time in my truck. It's my livelihood. So I'm not taking any chances when something happens to it. So when my windshield cracked, my friend recommended Safe Flight Auto Glass. It came right to me with expert service where I needed it. That's service I can trust, no matter what I'm hauling. Right, girl?
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
Yeah, I'm bad to the bone. I ain't sure what you've been told. Yeah, I'm bad.
Honey latte.
What's the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, it's Hack Me.
Are you serious?
So I gave your birth date for free parking.
That's how I got this robe.
No one really tries to be unsafe.
Mom, what's your 401k number?
But every time you give up info and privacy, you give up a little safety too.
Is it normal to ask for your social when you buy socks?
Norton 360 with LifeLock helps protect your devices, online privacy, and identity all in one. Opt into cyber safety at norton.com.
All the gifts you really, really, really can't wait to unwrap. Joy fully.
When you walk in the door with the new triple bacon pizza from Papa John's, oh, that smell of bacony goodness has everyone showing up. And I mean everyone. It's the season of bacon at Papa John's. Zeke.
Age before beauty?
Why not both? Visibly diminish wrinkled skin in just 2 days. Crepe Corrector Lotion, only from Gold Bond. Championing your skin. Nurse Mariam Sabo knows a moment this pure demands a lotion this pure. New Gold Bond Pure Moisture Lotion, 24-hour hydration. No parabens, dyes, or fragrances. Gold Bond, champion your skin.
You've never seen anything like this before. Adventure level, very high.
Brought to you by Kia. When we're inspired to move, we're inspired to make. Kia, movement that inspires.
Currently in our area, 52 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, periods of light rain early, low 52, chance of rain 70%. Thursday, mostly cloudy skies, near record high temperatures, high 61. Thursday night, skies clearing overnight, low 55, winds west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Breaking right now on the Weather Channel, tracking tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings here, and a widespread wind threat associated with the big area of low pressure that is right now moving through Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, and into Minnesota, with the tail of this moving through Kansas and into Missouri. So this is what's going on right now. There is severe weather over here, snow over here, and wind over here as well. So let's start off with a look at where there are some tornado warnings right now. This is in Iowa. This is west of Interstate 35, north of Interstate 880 and Interstate 80 right now, I should say, with a lot of lightning associated with these storms. Fort Dodge under a tornado warning. Boone is close. If you're not now, you will be soon. Here's a look at Humboldt, Palo Alto, Pocahontas counties. That tornado warning is just north of the one that includes Fort Dodge. Boone, Greene, and Webster counties. Fort Dodge, Gowrie, Jefferson also included with this. And then down here, we see the tornado warning. It looks like the worst part of the storm is to the farther edge of the tornado warning. This is northwest of Des Moines. And you can see at the velocity somewhere in here is where we're seeing some of the strongest winds, and occasionally we'll see some little spins up there. Those would be the tornadoes. And then this right here, this is the correlation coefficient. So basically the radar is showing us anything that's not a raindrop or hail. And some of this is just noise, but this goes right along with where the leading edge of the squall line is. So this may be some dust and debris being picked up and being detected by the radar, especially when it's this close to the radar. The beam's going to be a little bit closer to the ground as the radar, the beam goes away from the earth. As it goes away from the radar, it goes higher in elevation away from the radar. So being a little bit lower, it may be doing a better job of picking up some of the low-level dust, debris, whatever may be kicked up on the leading edge of this storm. And there is damaging winds certainly possible this entire stretch. Des Moines, Iowa under a severe thunderstorm warning. On the edge of that again is the tornado warning right now. And again, this is a long and large line that we're currently tracking, Jackie, across several states.
Yeah, we want to get to Des Moines, Iowa right now, where our meteorologist Mike Seidel is. And Mike, you've been there all afternoon and now into the evening. We just clocked some winds to the west of you in Perry, Iowa, around 70 miles per hour. And that line of storms is getting pretty close to you now.
It is, and we just got a tweet from the Weather Service here in Des Moines. You know, they're busy. They got a full staff tonight, and even extra folks in. We saw that on social media. They just reported a gust from Perry. Now, that's the town northwest of Des Moines where they had the tornado warning earlier, and the gust was 74 miles an hour, hurricane force. Let's go to the radar. So the line is now west of us. I'm seeing lightning off to our west and north. Those storms are not going to hit us because they're coming in from the south and west. So it's going to be the area back there, and we've seen little, if any, lightning so far. They're a little bit farther away, but we do have that severe thunderstorm warning going until 6:30, so about another 40 minutes. And we want to emphasize the fact that, unlike in the summertime, once this line goes through, the winds aren't just going to die down. Now, this is not a summertime setup. We've got a big cyclone, a huge synoptic scale cyclone. We don't have those in the summer for severe weather usually, and certainly in the springtime. But this one is just going to have a lot of wind on the backside. It's going to be from the colder direction. Our temperatures are still around 70. By tomorrow morning, they're going to drop 40 degrees along with the wind chill. So you're going to have to change the whole wardrobe back to something more typical for the Midwest here in December, Jackie. So we're going to move right now. It's only going to take us a few minutes, and we'll come back to you at the top of the hour at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, and give you an update and show you what's going to come through here. And we'll carry it for you live here on the Weather Channel.
Mike, can I ask you, are you still hearing the tornado sirens going off there?
No, they went off twice. And, you know, I've seen that back in Atlanta when there's a severe thunderstorm warning and there's a risk of a tornado. Some municipalities, communities, wait a minute. I thought I heard them go off again. You hear? Now they just started going off again. So they're letting folks know to, you know, take heed and get into your safe place, even though there's not officially a tornado warning. These lines, this squall line has had quick spin-ups, and you don't have much time. And the only optimum thing about this is it's moving so fast. The rain lasts 10 or 15 minutes, so if there is a tornado, it's going to be in and out pretty quickly. And most of these have been on the weak side based on the rotation and what we've seen on the radar. But we're going to watch that again. Tornado sirens going off here right now outside of the Des Moines airport. We're heading to a safer place. We'll see you in just about 5 or 6 minutes from Des Moines. Stay with us.
The leap of faith. Some hesitate, but not you. You don't ask what if. You embrace what's next with open arms. You don't question your decision. You double down. Because you know the thrill is worth it. Introducing the 2022 Telluride Nightfall Edition.
While his neighbors were asleep, our man Scrooge was digging deep. The Peloton bike brought motivation galore.
Work Peloton!
His workouts were lit, and he kept finding more. As the seasons changed, Scrooge got fit until he called out, "Child! What day is it?"
It's August 19th.
The kid returned with a shout. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
It can be easy to steal your identity. Now, it can be just as easy to help protect yourself. LifeLock helps detect identity threats. If there's a problem, we work to fix it. Go to lifelock.com.
A ride to treatment. A free place to stay. A helpline when you need it. These seem like little things. But to a person with cancer, they're everything. 1 in 3 of us will be diagnosed with cancer. Donate to the American Cancer Society and help patients in need get the care they need. Donate today.
I'd do anything for you, dear. Anything for you. Mean everything to me. I know that I'd go anywhere for your smile. Everywhere, yes, I'd do anything, anything, anything for you.
For
anything on your pet's wish list. PetSmart, anything for pets.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle all the way.
Buble Sparkling Water.
It's sparkling!
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients to support immune health.
Curiosity pushes you forward. It's what inspired Meiomi to create an unrivaled wine using the best from California to push flavor in new directions for a taste like no other. Meiomi, flavor forward.
Get groceries, gifts, and more fast and easy. So last-minute guests are the only thing you'll be waiting on. Joy fully.
An ongoing tornado threat right now and widespread damaging wind threat as well for several states in the middle part of the United States. We're going to start off right now with a look at that severe weather threat, which includes a tornado threat. A tornado watch from the Storm Prediction Center means that conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes. If you're in the red, make sure you have a way to get alerts. And if you get an alert, if you get a warning, that means take action. Go to your safe place. This one is in effect until 8 o'clock and could see until about 11 o'clock here across parts of Wisconsin. So we've got several hours to go yet before this tornado threat passes. But once the line gets past you, the line of storms, the rain, lightning, and tornado threat goes down. However, the strong wind threat will still be with us. There are strong winds coming in behind this and especially close to that area of low pressure. There are tornado warnings. They just keep getting issued again and again along this section of the line. Haven't had a tornado warning for several minutes now across parts of Kansas and Missouri. But the tornado warnings that are ongoing right now are in Iowa across several counties here from north to south. We can see it's from north of Fort Dodge to just northwest of Des Moines and includes the storm, not for Boone, but it's associated with that one right here. For Boone, Greene, and Webster counties, there is a tornado warning in effect. This was observed, so an observed tornado. Not seeing any obvious spin on here, but they happen very quickly. And we can see the remnants of old tornado warnings back here as well. Again, anywhere along this line, the leading edge, there can be winds strong enough to do damage, and embedded within that line, expecting some tornadoes. That has been the case. That's what we've been seeing on the radar. Again, strong storms getting close to Des Moines, where meteorologist Mike Seidel is located. We'll get to him in just a little bit. This severe thunderstorm warning includes Dallas, Madison, and Polk counties, and this also the threat that a tornado is possible. This is an ongoing threat with this entire line, especially on this stretch of storm here in Iowa. And you can really see where the winds are changing direction here in relationship to the radar. Let's take a look now at where there's little appendages here, get little appendages here, Decatur, Ringgold, and Union counties here, going from Iowa now into Missouri. Kansas City under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Frequent lightning, heavy rain, and possibly some damaging winds. And as we go through the rest of this evening, the threat for more strong storms exists, and we can see the severe thunderstorm watch. Again, conditions favorable for the development of damaging winds associated with the thunderstorm. For severe thunderstorms, again, this includes now parts of Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma, into Missouri, parts of Kansas, and more of Illinois now. And this is going into the dark hours as well, making things just that much more difficult to assess from the ground. Trust the warnings. You get a warning, either scrolling across your television, on your phone, weather radio. Take action. It is time to get to your safe location. Again, the threat for tornadoes also exists with the areas in red. Can't rule it out completely in the areas in yellow, but it's these red areas up here where there are tornado watches that conditions remain most favorable for the development of tornadoes, and that includes right here in Des Moines, Iowa, where meteorologist Mike Seidel is standing by. Hello, Mike. I noticed you've retreated to your safer location here.
Yes, we have. We've moved the crew back under the awning and back towards the front door of the hotel. I'm out here, but I can quickly move back inside the building if necessary. We're still under that severe thunderstorm warning. We have been for a while. That goes until the bottom of the hour for about another 28 minutes till 6:30 Central. So we're watching the line. I'm watching it here on my phone. It's pretty nasty looking. It's produced wind gusts through the late afternoon and early evening hours as high as 93 miles an hour in Lincoln. And you can see how fast the storms are moving. 70 to 80 miles an hour. We don't often see that, but this storm is all wound up, and we had wind alerts earlier, wind advisories and high wind warnings for 90 million Americans. That's just unheard of. Just so many folks will be impacted by the wind, the gradient wind, even if you don't have a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. So here comes the line of storms. Notice the line is moving east, but the individual cells are moving northeast. So you may see some lightning behind me, but those storms are not coming our way. Our storms are coming in more from the west-southwest. So we still have a little bit more time, and we'll see how we fare here. Hopefully we don't get gusts more than about 50 or 60 miles an hour. But again, these lines have a history of producing hurricane-force wind gusts or higher. And right now, I just added up the power outages from this storm today, now up around 300,000. That includes New Mexico, Colorado, and Iowa and Missouri. So the power outages are ramping up. They'll continue to ramp up. This line of storms will head towards St. Louis and up towards Chicago and be in those metropolitan areas around midnight tonight. We don't expect 80 or 90 mile an hour winds in those areas, but we do expect winds that could be clocked in at 50 or 60 miles an hour, and that kind of wind too could knock out power. One advantage we have right now, Jackie, is we don't have any leaves on the trees, which would act to catch more wind and would bring more trees down, like we had August of 2020 with that horrible derecho here in Iowa. I think Cedar Rapids took the worst of it, but when you don't have leaves kind of catching the wind, that does offer somewhat of an advantage as far as trees and limbs coming down on power lines. But in the next, I'd say 15-20 minutes, it's going to be a whole different picture out here. As we've seen in videos, upwind, it gets really windy, and that rain comes in horizontally, much like in a tropical storm or hurricane, and we're going to be right here to show it to you as long as we can stay safe.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the 70 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts report just off towards your west. So folks there definitely need to be prepared for that for sure, Mike. You stay safe. We'll check back in with you in just a little bit. I want to update you on the watches because we have 2 new watches that have been issued. So remember, a warning means it's happening. Take cover now. A watch means conditions are favorable for severe weather to occur. So we do have our watch in effect, including the Des Moines metro area all along I-35 through Iowa until 8 o'clock. But a brand new tornado watch has been issued that includes the Twin Cities metro area here, Minneapolis and St. Paul, down towards Winona into La Crosse, all of eastern Iowa, including you and Davenport and the Quad Cities, and western portions of Illinois. That's until 11 o'clock tonight. Then south of there, a severe thunderstorm watch has been issued that includes much of central parts of Missouri, including you in Columbia, until midnight. And then west of there, including Kansas City, down towards Tulsa, Oklahoma, a severe thunderstorm watch until 7 o'clock. And that's where we've been seeing this tail line of that whole complex of storms producing some very strong winds, but also potentially some hail with those. Take a look at all the damage reports that we've had in just the last 6 hours. Incredible. So all the red ones that you can see, those were reports of tornadoes, and then all the blue ones are reports of either wind gusts that were extreme or damage that those winds have caused. And of course, it's not just the winds with the thunderstorms, it's the larger scale winds that have been a problem all across the plains here this afternoon and for tonight. So the warnings today should really be treated as tornado warnings, even if they're severe thunderstorm warnings. That's how strong the winds could be and be damaging all across this region. This is a rare event to have these kind of storms and winds and a tornado threat this far north in the month of December. We have torcons of 4 and 5 here that's going to last into the evening hours. Minnesota has never had a tornado reported in the month of December before. We've got snowpack on the ground in Minnesota in areas where we now have a tornado watch in effect. So the timing of all of this is going to be blowing through the Twin Cities around 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight, through eastern Iowa, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and through parts of Wisconsin, likely between about 9 o'clock and the midnight hour, and then it pushes east. But one of the big things, Chris, that we really want to bring home, it's not one of those situations where the line of storms comes through and then you're done. The line of storms will be the worst of the wind, most likely, but we're still going to have strong winds for probably 4 to 6 hours at least behind that main line.
And I'm going to explain exactly why that is in just a second and show you why that is. But first, Jackie, we'll take a look at some new video coming into the Weather Channel right now. This here out of Nebraska here, Clatonia, Nebraska. And you can see some of the debris around. No word whether or not this was from a tornado or straight line winds. Frankly, it could be either with this type of damage. We're likely to see more. The sound of tornado sirens in Hastings, Nebraska, and it looks like there's some lowering there off on the horizon there, just above the buildings and the trucks. It's hard to tell if that's just an intense rain shaft or maybe perhaps there's a little bit of rotation in there. But again, when you hear tornado sirens going off, those are meant for people that are outside. If you're inside, don't rely on tornado sirens. Make sure you are getting alerts either with the weather radio, NOAA weather radio, your television, or on your phone. Make sure your alerts are turned on. So a serious day today turning into a serious night with a damaging wind and tornado threat. So as we continue to monitor the scenes here in Nebraska, you can see how the camera is shaking a bit. I want to give you an overall picture of why we've got this double dose threat of winds. Winds associated with thunderstorms, and then winds associated with the big area of low pressure that is primarily responsible for the thunderstorms. So bear with me here for a second. Here's that spin, that counterclockwise swirl, which is the wind pattern you get as air is flowing toward an area of low pressure because the air is rising here. So the surface area, you get the area of low pressure right there. The leading edge of this going into some very warm and humid air, right? So that's where we're getting the big-time thunderstorms right in here, okay? That's the severe weather threat. And then the strong winds around, because this is such a strong area of low pressure, so these winds coming around here, coming out of the Rockies as well, and ahead of it, seeing some very strong winds. So what we can look at, now this is the combination of the radar, the visible satellite, which the map goes black because we lose the daylight, but I want to show you what's going on here. First, just look at these very tight lines. These very tight lines is where the winds are strongest. There's the greater difference in temperature over a shorter distance, or you just have a really strong high over here and a really strong low over here, and it gets windy all through here. So that's why you have the front that comes through, the squall line, if you will, here, associated with the area of low pressure, strong area of low pressure. Here is a look at all of the thunderstorms associated with this. And then once that comes through, you're going to have a blast of colder air. So that's another thing that's going to be dramatic. You're going to go from very warm to very cold, and the winds whipping up ahead of it and continuing behind it, and even still seeing some strong winds here in the Rockies as well. So some strong winds over a huge area here in the United States. Look at the temperature difference. It's freezing on one side of Nebraska, 60s and 70s on the other side of Nebraska. And you can see it's all from the direction of which the winds are going here. And here's a look at some of those strong winds that we're seeing, gusting at close to 50 miles an hour at times. And with that, Jackie, as the low moves, we're losing some high wind warnings, but high wind warnings still in effect for several states.
Wow, just incredible to think of some of those numbers that you threw out there, Chris. 71 still in Des Moines, 6 o'clock at night. Usually our peak heating is about, 3 o'clock in the afternoon this time of the year. That's the hottest they've ever been in the month of December. I know we feel those warm temperatures in December. We feel like it's a treat, but that's not normal, and that is not a good thing, and that's part of what's fueling the severe weather risk. We've got torcons of anywhere from a 2 to a 5 here in central and southern parts of Iowa, and we want to move forward and time this out because it's not just Des Moines, it's not just central Iowa up towards Ames into Fort Dodge. This is going to be eastern Iowa too. This is going to be heading towards Marshalltown. This is going to head towards Waterloo, Ottumwa, into Iowa City. So that's going to happen after 7 o'clock. And we think this is going to move through very quickly between 7 and 8, become right on your doorstep here on 380, and then head towards eastern Iowa, including you over towards the Quad Cities about 9, 10 o'clock at night. Watch the winds with this. That's one of the big points I want to bring home here is look at how strong those winds stay, even at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Twin Cities, what about you? You've got torcons between a 2 and a 4, 2 on the north side of town, 4 on the south side of town, 3 for you in Minneapolis and St. Paul. So these storms are going to be rocking and rolling through here between 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. We do have that new tornado watch that has been issued. So yes, a few storms could rotate. It's going to be dark out. There's going to be heavy rain. You're not going to see the tornadoes. Trust the warnings, not to mention the fact that we could have very strong winds with that line and behind the line that will continue into the early overnight. So looking at some of those stronger winds, still around 45 plus miles per hour at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And these storms will continue past the Twin Cities, Chris, and work their way into western Wisconsin.
All right, of course, we're still tracking this severe weather threat here. The tornado threat continues into the nighttime hours now. It is dark. We're watching things in Nebraska and in Iowa where strong winds are expected. We're going to get back to meteorologist Mike Seidel in Des Moines in a little bit. I'm seeing more lightning on his shot right now. This is the torcon, a torcon of 5. The bigger the number, the bigger the threat. And there's a big area of low pressure producing this big threat here of severe weather. Now, if you see these yellow outlined areas, severe thunderstorm warnings. Severe weather is about to happen or it's happening. The red outlined areas where there are tornado warnings right now. And this is the timing for that. Over the next few hours, it's going to be working across Iowa through Missouri and eventually into Wisconsin, Minnesota, and into Illinois.
Nothing got more sweat on Scrooge's head
Good things happen to those who hustle.
than the workouts on his Peloton tread. Scrooge had never exercised more devout. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
With Ring Alarm this holiday season, deck the halls, walls, doors, and windows with protection and peace of mind. Protect your home with Ring Alarm. Get your Ring Alarm today. Shop holiday deals now at ring.com.
Snacking could mean that pieces get stuck under Mike's denture. But Super Polygrip gives him a tight seal to help block out food particles, so he can enjoy the game. Super Polygrip.
Honey latte.
What's the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, it's Hack Me.
It's easy to be unsafe.
Mom, what's your 401k number?
Now it's easy to help protect yourself. Opt into cyber safety at Norton.com.
It's my 310, no exit site, migraine medicine. It's Ubrelvy for any time, anywhere migraine strikes without worrying if it's too late or where I am. One dose can quickly stop my migraine in its tracks within 2 hours.
Unlike older medicines, Ubrelvy is a pill that directly blocks CGRP protein, believed to be a cause of migraine. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Most common side effects were nausea and tiredness.
Ask about Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine.
The only thing a disaster can't destroy is hope. Donate now at redcross.org.
This holiday season, remember the trick. The one that lets you skip the line and get your finger-licking chicken finger-licking quick.
It's finger-licking quick.
So many flavors of dew. I'm thirsty. I must get the dew.
Cut! He's hypnotized again!
Do the dew.
This is Antonelli's Cheese Shop, and we're the Antonellis.
We chose our new Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One because we earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase.
And with no preset spending limit, our purchasing power adapts to our business needs. What's in your wallet?
Fresh flavors, classic dishes, and a new seat at the table.
The Weather Channel and its climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
Non-valvular AFib can mean a lifetime of blood thinners. And if you're troubled by falls and bleeds, worry follows you everywhere. Over 150,000 people have left blood thinners behind with Watchman. It's a one-time, minimally invasive procedure that reduces stroke risk and bleeding worry for life. Watchman. It's one time for a lifetime.
Age before beauty? Why not both? Visibly diminish wrinkled skin in just 2 days. Crate Corrector Lotion, only from Gold Bond. Championing your skin. Nurse Mariam Sabo knows a moment this pure demands a lotion this pure. New Gold Bond Pure Moisture Lotion, 24-hour hydration. No parabens, dyes, or fragrances. Gold Bond, champion your skin.
For your local on the 8, brought to you by Campbell's. Good.
Currently in our area, 51 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, cloudy skies, slight chance of a rain shower, low 52, winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday, considerable cloudiness, near record high temperatures, high 61, winds southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday night, cloudy skies early, followed by partial clearing, low 55, winds west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Climate change is uncovering ground that has never been seen before.
Probably the largest untapped gold reserve in the entire world.
The awesome thing about Greenland is gold can be anywhere.
We all gave up so much to come here.
This is more dangerous than I thought it would be.
We got trouble. We're running out of time, man.
I don't believe you have what it takes to even be out here. If gold was easy to find, everybody would do it.
Get the gold, dude.
Breaking right now, tracking a dangerous area of low pressure that has a severe side and a widespread windy side associated with it. I want to start off with a look at just how widespread, how many people, how many states are dealing with some of these very strong winds just in the past 6 hours. As this area of low pressure is getting stronger, we saw the winds get stronger. And right just east of the Rockies, getting into the plains in Colorado, eastern Wyoming, the Dakotas, especially South Dakota, and then tons of strong winds closer to the area of low pressure. So you see these little swirlies. Those are the wind reports, wind damage as well, and just several of them. And of course, with that, you can understand that getting closer to 400,000 customers across the U.S. With power outages. Colorado and Kansas seeing the most of the power outages. I would expect the numbers to continue to go up in these areas right here, closer to that squall line that's going through at the moment, and possibly still could go up a little bit more in Nebraska as well, where you are still, and in South Dakota, still closer to the center of the low, where there's a lot of these strong winds coming around that area of low pressure and out, I should say over here, out ahead of it. So like this, seeing strong winds. And then, of course, you get that extra push of wind as well right within where those severe thunderstorm warnings are. There is still a tornado warning to tell you about right now. This one, again, there's two right here, but I believe it's still associated with the same part of the storm. And then through Des Moines, down to just about getting into Des Moines right now. Meteorologist Mike Seidel is dry at the moment, but that's likely to change here. We'll get to him in momentarily. Going on down the line here, this for Decatur, Lucas, and Wayne counties in Iowa. And now down here to Kansas City, where the airport, they had to evacuate the tower because of the strong winds coming through. And so for Jackson County, severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Plenty of lightning as well. And then this threat going all the way down and eventually getting into Oklahoma, the northeast part of Oklahoma. Going to see the chance for some severe weather. So look at all of the states. You have Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, down to Kansas, and now that line extending into Oklahoma. And then there's a snowy side of it. This, I think, is also fascinating, Jackie, where we see the snow coming in right after some severe weather rolled through.
Yeah, a very short area, a very short distance there between the storms and the snowy conditions. And big note how that line just curves out, and you can really kind of see how the winds push that whole main line out. Our meteorologist, Mike Seidel, is in Des Moines, Iowa right now, and you're on the southwest side of town there, Mike. So this storm is just about on your doorstep, while folks just up to your north are already getting hit.
No, it just hit right now. I just felt the downdraft ahead of the storm. The temperature, I think it's dropped at least 10 degrees. It was 71. And right as you were tossing to me, a shot of cool air. And now the wind is really starting to howl. So in the next 4 or 5 minutes, the rain is going to start. We could get wind gusts over 70 miles an hour. I don't know if they can make a call back to the Weather Channel to stay on the air through the commercial break, because this is really what we've been waiting for, unfortunately, for the past 4 or 5 hours. The line of storms now coming through the southwest side of Des Moines, through the airport. Winds now gusting over 40, pushing 50 miles an hour. You can really feel how the temperature has dropped here just outside the airport. Rain is just beginning to start. I'm looking at the radar now. The scan is already about 5 minutes old, and the rain is just to our west. So we are going to stay with you through the break, so you get a visual and a live sense of what happens when a squall line goes through. And keep in mind, we're just, less than 10 days from Christmas. Temperatures today in the mid-70s. It should be in the mid-30s. So we're talking about temperatures 40 degrees above average. We had dew points close to 60, which would have been a record. We just missed that. So you put all those ingredients together, and then you bring in this cyclone with these jet streak winds over 100 knots, and that wind gets mixed down to the surface. So we've had the gradient wind. Once this rain kicks up here in a few minutes, that could transport down the winds that we've seen west of here. Lincoln, Nebraska, 93 miles an hour. Salina, Kansas, gusted 82 miles an hour. Many reports of winds upwards of 75 plus, hurricane force wind gust, and now over 300,000 customers without power. We had the wind gust earlier of 107 in Lamar, Colorado. Now I can feel the chill in my hands. We told you earlier it was going to get cold. By tomorrow morning, we're going to be down below freezing, and wind chills are going to be down around 20. The winds will back off after midnight. But once this comes through, we're still going to have wind gusts in excess of 60, maybe up to 70 miles an hour. The winds are not going to die off like they typically do when you have a squall line during the warmer months of the year. That's not the case this time. We've got this very tight gradient. It's like a big swirling, whirling dervish. But I can really hear the wind coming across the highway. We're just across the street from the runways now here at the Des Moines airport, and I can hear the wind whipping through the trees. Again, I mentioned earlier, with the leaves off the trees, that cuts down on some of the risk of trees coming down and power outages, but we're going to have power outages. That's a given, and at least, some tree damage. Although remember, with the derecho about August a year ago, it really took out a lot of trees. Now the winds are really gusting upwards of 50 miles an hour. I'm going to brace myself here. I can see rain in the distance at the airport, and now looking at the radar, it's just about on us here in Des Moines. Severe thunderstorm warning was set to expire in about 5 minutes, but I bet they're going to extend that warning. They have now extended the severe thunderstorm warning here in Des Moines, West Des Moines, Ankeny until 7:30. So they extended it another hour. Now they're saying wind gusts to 70 miles an hour. I don't doubt it. So in the next few minutes, the winds have really increased. The sustained winds were running about 25 miles an hour. Now they're running at around 35 miles an hour out here. You can see the trees and the grass blowing. They took the flags down earlier. That was a good thing because they didn't want to lose the flags. They were really whipping in some of the locations I was downtown today. Now the rain's starting to pick up a little bit. So in the next few minutes, if we're going to get our strongest wind gusts, they're going to occur shortly because that downdraft air, that cold air is denser and it slams down to the ground, and that's exactly what it's doing right now. Now it's starting to pick up. Temperatures has already fallen, I think, back into the 50s from a high today in the mid-70s. It was 71 literally 10 minutes ago. I can feel the chill. I can use some gloves right now, and the rain is starting to blow in horizontally. Take another look at the radar here. And Chris and Jackie, I know you're watching this back at the Weather Channel, but any minute we should get into the downpour and the squall. The radar, the scan is not immediate, so it takes a few minutes. Now the heavier rain coming in, we're going to wait this out and see what kind of wind we do have here on the southwest side of Des Moines. But if it's anything like we've seen upstream across Kansas and into Nebraska and even into western Iowa, Perry, northwest of here, had a wind gust of 75 miles an hour, and I can hear the roar of the wind through the trees on the other side of the hotel. That had to be at least a 50-mile-an-hour gust, or you can feel the wind right now just whipping across the highway off the runways. It is really coming down as far as the rainfall. Sheets of rain through the lights, and the temperature continues to fall. This is what we had expected. We're talking about in western Nebraska now. It's snowing where it was in the 70s earlier. So the rain is picking up. Austin, you think we should go over on that side? You want to go over on that side? Follow me over there. Follow me over there, show some of the wind impacts on the trees. I'll walk over here. He's going to follow me over here. And get a little better idea of the wind and the trees and how they're being impacted here. I think now you can get a sense of the wind whipping the rain through these trees here. Again, without leaves, that saves us a little bit, but certainly gusts over 50 miles an hour as the rain picks up in intensity. It's not going to rain very long because simply the line is very narrow and it's moving at 70 to 80 miles an hour. So that gives you at least one positive note. We're not going to have any flash flooding. That's the case. Rain still coming down a little bit harder, certainly not as hard as we've seen recently upstream in some of these videos we've seen across parts of Nebraska and Kansas, and then all the dust blowing around earlier. Let's look back at the radar here and see what we have here. Yeah, it's just about on top of us right now. So the rain continues, temperatures plummeting, but so far, nothing that would indicate from what's blown through here of any gust higher than about 50 miles an hour. The airport observation station is just around the corner, and we'll get their observation here shortly. But wind and rain, and I think I hear the tornado sirens again. They've set off the tornado sirens here for 3 or 4 times because all of these severe thunderstorms have the capability in this situation of producing a quick spin-up tornado. So the wind and rain, let's walk back over here, give you an idea of how the wind's picking up. Here we go. Austin Anderson behind the camera. get out here in the open here. Not really concerned about anything hitting me because there's really nothing upwind except the road and the airport runways. But here we go with the wind and rain continuing out here in Des Moines. We've been watching this all day. We knew this was going to be a very vivacious system producing these sporty weather conditions, and it has come to pass here. Now the winds sustained, I'd say, at least 35 miles an hour. You get a sense of the horizontal rain coming through the area right now. But because it's a short-term impact as far as rainfall, I looked at Salina and Concordia, and they got about 1/10 to 1/1500ths of an inch of rain. So the rain really is not not really part of the story as far as any kind of impact. But it's whipping pretty good out here, Jackie and Chris. Get out here a little farther, a little bit more exposure to get a sense of how strong the wind is. But once again, so far, I don't think we've had any gust higher than 50 miles an hour. I'm hearing back from the control room. It's hard to hear what they're saying in the control room, but Chris and Jackie, Chris, you want to take it for now for a few seconds and get back and forth here from West Des Moines?
Yeah, Mike, you're getting crushed by the rain. I saw one lightning bolt that was maybe about 6 miles away. Have you heard any light? I don't know if you can hear anything right now, but have you heard any thunder?
Hey, Chris, can you see how it's picked up?
Yeah, big time.
Wow. It's hard to hear you, Chris, with the water in my ears, but this is the strongest one we've had so far. Still, I haven't felt an extreme gust. You know, it's blowing pretty steadily at 35, maybe 40, but we still, fortunately, I'm saying, hey, that's great. Cuts down on the power outages. But that for a few seconds was probably close to 50 miles an hour. And now it's eased off. It's kind of a steady wind right now, blowing the rain horizontally, Chris, but certainly none of these gusts were even close to 60, and certainly not 70. I felt those in tropical weather, Chris and Jackie, and we haven't experienced that so far. But Chris, I got to tell you, man, the temperature has plummeted from 71. I'd say we're down in the mid-50s right now. It has really got nippy out here, especially when I had that light, short sleeve polo shirt on just about an hour ago. I'll send it back to you, and we'll keep you updated from here. Again, they extended the severe thunderstorm warning in the Metro Des Moines area until 7:30. We still could get gusts to 70 miles an hour. Once this moves through, the tornado threat goes away. The high winds continue through this evening with a high wind warning till midnight. Chris?
All right, Mike, as we continue to watch, that is some intense rainfall right there. So not every stretch, every point of the line of storms that we're tracking right now is going to look exactly like that. Some areas you could have the rain and even stronger winds because Mike was ready for winds to be even stronger. I want to show you where Mike is right now. Here's Des Moines, and he is in the orange, maybe some red here. And you see how the storm sort of evolves. When it was right here, look how thick that red was. Right, some of the heaviest rain likely associated with some of the stronger winds. And then when it got over here, it's much more fragmented. So that's what we're seeing with Mike. It is super heavy rain, no doubt about it. But he's not seeing the winds that were possible with this, but also dramatic cool down. And the winds will continue even after the line of storms comes through.
I'd do anything for you, dear. Anything for you mean everything to me. I know that I'd go anywhere for your smile. Everywhere, yes, I'd do anything for you.
For anything on your pet's wish list. PetSmart, anything for pets.
No excuses, no complaints, no no-shows. Because for HBCU students, halftime isn't a break, it's game time. That's what I like.
Wireless family plans save you money, but then you have to deal with family. So I got Visible. Get unlimited data for as low as $25 a month. No family needed.
Is the turkey done yet?
Here's our turkey!
Visible. Switch and get up to $200.
Finding stuff is hard, but finding your show
easy.
Virgin River.
Search for shows with just your voice across live TV and all streaming apps.
Babe, you see my glasses? They're here somewhere.
Voice search across live TV and streaming apps with Dish.
When faced with a challenge, it's good to remember how you've overcome them before. Range Rover Sport, driven to another level.
Fairlife brings more to your holiday traditions. It's ultra-filtered milk with 50% more protein, 50% less sugar, and a creamy taste. This season, turn delicious into delicious. Fairlife, ultra-filtered milk.
With thyroid eye disease, I was always wearing sunglasses to hide my bulging eyes. I wore them just about everywhere. But then, my doctor recommended Tepezza, a prescription medicine for thyroid eye disease, and I didn't have to hide so much.
In a clinical study, more than 8 out of 10 patients taking Tepezza had less eye bulging, and nearly 7 out of 10 saw improvements in double vision. Tepezza is an infused medicine. Patients taking Tepezza may experience infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you have symptoms such as high blood pressure, fast heartbeat, shortness of breath, or muscle pain. Before receiving Tepezza, tell your doctor if you have diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD, or are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Tepezza may raise your blood sugar even if you do not have diabetes and may worsen IBD such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis.
I look more like my old self again. Now I wear sunglasses because I want to.
Ask your doctor if Tepezza is right for you and visit mytepezza.com to see Jeannie's before and after photos.
Ashley Home Store is bringing your favorite styles home for the holidays. Going on now, get up to 25% off or receive special financing for 60 months. Shop and save today. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
From unexpected finds to classic favorites, find the gifts they've been dreaming of with Macy's Holiday Gift Finder.
If you have questions about the climate, rely on the most trusted name in television and its innovative pattern climate team every day on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel, continuing coverage of this severe weather squall line. Still have some tornado watches. And here in Des Moines, near the airport, if you were watching 4 or 5 minutes ago, we took the worst of what we're going to see. And right after we went to the commercial break, we took our highest wind gusts. The airport just checked in about a minute ago. Peak wind gusts 61 miles an hour. So we were fortunate, at least in this part of the line, this part of Des Moines, we did not get 75, 80, or even 90 mile an hour wind gusts. And Jackie, I told you it was getting cold out here. It dropped from 71 down to 55. 71 to 55. So, and it's damp. So you can get a sense of how we've now quickly gotten rid of that insane heat from earlier today and now getting back close to normal. By tomorrow morning, we'll be back just below freezing. Jackie?
Incredible. And the strongest wind gusts I've seen is about 48 miles per hour there in Des Moines. And I think you guys were kind of spared a little bit as the line was bowing out to the north of you. I'm going to show you that on the radar in just a second. But we've got some new tornado warnings, so we need to get to those right away. These are in north central parts of Iowa. So there you can see the squall line. Here's the state of Iowa right here. And it's kind of north and then also south of Mason City where we've got these warnings. There was a confirmed tornado reported earlier in Algona with this one. Now it's just a radar indicated tornado, but still dangerous for Hancock, Kossuth, and Winnebago counties. That includes you in Buffalo Center until 7 o'clock. So that's moving up to the north and the east. And this is the Minnesota state line right there. So that's going to be moving over into Minnesota. Now, south of Mason City, over here, including you in Hampton, that's where we have our other tornado warning. Butler, as well as Cerro Gordo and Franklin counties under that warning, including you in Greene, Hampton, and Reeve. That's until 7:15. So a radar indicated tornado. We're seeing bright reflectivity and strong damaging winds are going to be likely associated with that. Now, this is the northern part of that line. The Des Moines metro area is like basically right on the bottom of your screen right there. So here's Nevada, here's New Providence, here's Iowa Falls, and you can kind of see how the the radar bows out up there, up towards the north, and how it kind of comes back in over here. That's why I think the winds were not as strong as this line moved through Des Moines proper, and why Mike got pretty lucky there that the stronger winds then stayed on up towards the north. But we're not done yet. And just keep in mind that there might be a little bit of a lull in the action from when this main line moves on through and when the stronger winds begin to pick up on the backside of those storms. We could still see 40 to 60 mile per hour winds not associated with thunderstorms behind all of this. So if anything got compromised during the first round of storms, it could still be vulnerable to creating more damage and some more power outages as a result. We'll take you a little farther down towards the south where we still have some severe thunderstorm warnings. This is the state line with Iowa and Missouri. So this is Lamoni along I-35 and then up towards Melcher, Dallas. You're under the severe thunderstorm warning here too until 7:15. Notice all of the little kinks within this line. Lots of little areas of energy and perhaps rotation. A tornado tag possible on this, meaning we could get some little spin-ups potentially. They're going to be difficult to see. They're likely going to be short-lived, but we still have that tornado threat and component ongoing. I want to take you into Missouri right now. Kansas City, the tower at the airport had to be evacuated. They went to their shelter because they were very concerned about those strong damaging winds that went on through. Those strong winds are now off towards your east and heading along I-70 towards Odessa. And then south of there, this tail line just keeps on going. Severe thunderstorm warning, including you in Independence back here into Kansas. And notice the little shapes that we have of some of these individual cells. Those certainly bear watching, that there's a chance we could get some rotation on a couple of those storms. And then just real quick, I want to update you on all of the watches that we have in effect here. We've got one till 8 o'clock here for Des Moines. It goes till 11 o'clock now for the Twin Cities up over towards La Crosse. A new severe thunderstorm watch across central parts of Missouri, and then the Kansas City one for the next hour or two. So a lot of action still ahead tonight. But boy, these are quick moving storms. We want to get back out to meteorologist Mike Seidel. Mike, you saw that kind of bowing segment up towards your north, which I think kept your winds down just a little bit where you are. Are you feeling that push of wind yet behind that main line?
Now that's going to be a little bit later, and if you look at the radar, we still have another little line just to our west. We don't expect any real risk of severe weather, although they've extended the warning till 7:30 for this area. The rain has backed off considerably. If you watched me just a few minutes ago, it was like the middle of a tropical storm. In fact, the winds were sustained at 43, gusts to 61. So that's tropical storm force sustained wind, 39 or greater. The other big change, and we knew this was coming in December when it's in the mid-70s. You know it can't do that for very long in this part of the country. It went from 71 to 53 in about 20 minutes. And it rained. I don't even think it rained for 20 minutes. So everything played out as is. And fortunately, at least in this part of Des Moines, our winds peaked at 61 versus an 80 or 90. That really lowers the threat for tree damage and power lines. Haven't seen any limbs down in this area. Some leaves blew on by. But still, concerns downstream with these storms and the squall line and more tornado warnings. And the watches continue. Back with Chris and Jackie after a break. Stay with us this evening on the Weather Channel.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride a one-horse open sleigh.
Buble Sparkling Water.
It's bubbly!
Innovation usually looks something like this. But what if it didn't? What if it looked like a family truck that powers a family home? Or an ordinary drive, made extraordinary. Let's change what innovation looks like. From floating around in your own personal space capsule up here, to what we could build for all Americans down here.
The app for Ring Alarm is so easy to use. You can arm and disarm the alarm, and you can see all your cameras. With Ring Alarm, we feel safe and protected.
Shop holiday deals now at ring.com.
Ashley Home Store is bringing your favorite styles home for the holidays. Going on now, get up to 25% off. Or receive special financing for 60 months. Shop and save today. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Finding stuff is hard, but finding your show, easy.
Virgin River.
Search for shows with just your voice across live TV and all streaming apps.
Babe, you see my glasses? They're here somewhere.
Voice search across live TV and streaming apps with Dish.
Curiosity pushes you forward. It's what inspired Meiomi to create an unrivaled wine using the best from California to push flavor in new directions for a taste like no other. Meiomi, flavor forward.
I need you to see.
To all the kisses that led to this one. Celebrate every kiss with K.
Your dry skin story changes from one day to the next. Try Eucerin Advanced Repair and switch. It doubles your skin's moisture and repairs dry skin over time. So tomorrow can be a different story. Eucerin, recommended and used by dermatologists.
SC Johnson.
Although it seems like any ordinary day, it isn't. For one extraordinary reason. Because now with Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited on 2 or more lines for $29.99 a line. This is a huge deal that'll make you feel larger than life. Get unlimited from Spectrum Mobile for just $29.99 with nationwide 5G included. Call 1-844-683-2999. It's the biggest news in mobile with the best deal ever. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for only $29.99 with no contracts, added taxes, or hidden fees, and nationwide 5G included. Save up to 60% on your mobile bill. Get gigantic savings with unlimited from Spectrum Mobile for just $29.99. Call 1-844-683-2999 or visit a store near you. Switch today and you too will feel larger than life.
Covering ground that has never been seen before.
Greenland is probably the largest untapped gold reserve in the entire world. We all gave up so much to come here.
If gold was easy to find, everybody would do it.
Get the gold, dude.
Currently in our area, 52 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, cloudy skies, slight chance of a rain shower, low 52, winds south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday, considerable cloudiness, near record high temperatures, high 61, winds southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday night, cloudy skies early, followed by partial clearing, low 55, winds west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Severe weather still unfolding right now here live on the Weather Channel. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren along with meteorologist Jackie Jarris and meteorologist Mike Seidel live in Des Moines, Iowa, where he just got clobbered by a line of storms that have been working through the Midwest. Want to get to the watches and then the warnings. Do have active both here. Tornado watches in effect for these areas here until 8 o'clock for the west side, until 11 o'clock for the east side, including parts, a lot of Wisconsin, and all the way up to the Twin Cities as well, where there's still snow on the ground, by the way. Severe thunderstorm watch down here for Missouri, Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, Kansas, and into Illinois. Watches mean conditions are favorable for this type of weather. Warnings mean that type of weather is happening right now. I want to get you caught up on the latest tornado warning right here. This tornado warning, this whole line of storms right here, and you can see a little bit of a bend right in there. This line is moving at 85 miles an hour. So this storm is going to be on top of you here in Greene, Charles City. You can see that here the counties The cities involved, Ardale, Dougherty, and Greene. Radar indicated tornado warning right now. Also, that line of storms that just went through Des Moines, meteorologist Mike Seidel is about to get another line. Not as strong as this one, but Mike reporting that temperatures have dropped dramatically as well, which is expected. That's part of the story with this big area of low pressure. Mike was also lucky that he got kind of a lightning gap in there. The next batch does have lightning associated with it as well. There has been some damage reported in the Kansas City area after storms moved through. The whole line, really the whole line here, it does have severe thunderstorm warnings associated with it. A couple things going on here. The storms themselves are packing a pretty big punch, but the overall big area of low pressure is also bringing with it some very strong winds. So this whole line right here is just cooking along. And even around here, around that center of the low, is where there's also some very strong winds. There's a lot of high wind warnings coming up and around here. So we're showing you the severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warnings with these quick bursts, almost looking like tropical storm conditions, as we saw with Mike. And what this is showing us right here, this was in Lincoln, Nebraska. You see how fast the wind's coming and how much rain is coming sideways. This right here is going to be a common sight with this line of storms, very similar with what meteorologist Mike Seidel was dealing with just a short while ago. But again, tracking the stronger storms associated with this big area of low pressure that we're looking at, the center of the low, now moving into Iowa. Nebraska is actually, instead of the tropical storm looking conditions, we're getting more snow in Nebraska now, while that severe weather threat continues to move up into Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, and next up will be Illinois and Wisconsin. So here's that big area of low pressure right here. Behind it, also some very strong winds. Colder winds as well. Your air source is now coming from the north, and then coming back around from the west. So a very dynamic setup today, Jackie, with severe weather. Just part of the story, but the most imminent, the most pressing part of the story right now.
Yeah, and those winds are going to stay strong here into the early overnight hours at least. And it hasn't been just the central plains. It's been the high plains, too. We want to take you out to Littleton, Colorado, where a sports complex dome was just ripped apart here by the strong winds. Wind gusts here were clocked around 60 miles per hour or so, but there were many reports in Colorado well beyond that, even in excess of 100 miles per hour as those winds sloped down the mountains and accelerated out onto the plains. Now, we also have some new video in out of Kansas. This is from Finney County, showing you the wind blowing all that debris. It's hard to tell, what all of that is, if it's, pieces of grasses, of branches, of trees, maybe some leaves and just other debris, perhaps even garbage getting blown around there. Winds very strong all across the plains. And we still have a lot of alerts that remain in effect. At one point, we had more than 85 million under wind alerts. So we've probably dropped a good 10 million or more off of that. But wherever the dark purple color is where we still have high wind warnings. And that's where winds could exceed 60 miles per hour. That's not associated with the thunderstorms. That's just the strong synoptic winds because of that area of low pressure. Here's a look at all the damaging wind reports as a result. It doesn't take a severe thunderstorm to cause wind damage. Regular wind can do it on its own. And we do have about 400,000 now without power.
This program brought to you by Stouffer's Lasagna. Has 2 times the meat, so you can't be anything but happy full.
Stouffer's makes you happy full.
Kids, dinner!
With 2 times the meat and 3 kinds of cheese, you can't be anything but happy full. Stouffer's.
My daughter has type 2 diabetes, and lately I've seen this change in her.
Once weekly Trulicity is proven to help lower A1C. It lowers blood sugar from the first dose, and you could lose up to 10 pounds. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. It's not approved for use in children. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. Ask your doctor about once-weekly Trulicity.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and thank you very much for letting us become just a little part of your holiday. And we sincerely hope that Jimmy Dean sausage might make your holiday just a little bit brighter. Happy holiday to you.
Hey, you! Domino's is giving away $15 million in surprise frees.
Other delivery apps add surprise fees. At Domino's, we're giving out surprise frees instead. When you order delivery online, you could be surprised with free food.
I love it.
From Domino's.
If you have thyroid eye disease, and you go through artificial tears in the blink of an eye, or your eyes feel like they're getting kicked in the backside, it might be time to discover another treatment option for thyroid eye disease, also known as TED. To learn more, visit treatted.com. That's treat.ted.com.
It's My 405, the show must go on, migraine medicine. It's Ubrelvy for any time, anywhere migraine strikes without worrying if it's too late or where I am. One dose can quickly stop my migraine in its tracks within 2 hours.
Unlike older medicines, Ubrelvy is a pill that directly blocks CGRP protein, believed to be a cause of migraine. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Most common side effects were nausea and tiredness.
Ask about Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine.
Don't just clean it. Clean it. OxyClean Laundry and Home Sanitizer kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. And that feels... OxyClean Laundry and Home Sanitizer also kills the virus that causes COVID-19.
This is Antonelli's Cheese Shop, and we're the Antonellis.
We chose our new Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One because we earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase.
And with no preset spending limit, our purchasing power adapts to our business needs. What's in your wallet?
Of all the things that made Scrooge pout, he most disliked running and striding about. Until he discovered the Peloton tread. Spring and lifting sweat. Drip sang out like a Christmas choir. This grump was hashtag on fire. Now Scrooge ran the holidays, no doubt. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out.
Meteorologist Jackie Jarris here on Storm Center with the latest on the severe weather that's working across parts of the Midwest. We have a number of new tornado warnings to get to, along with a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings for the risk of damaging winds between 60 and 80 miles per hour. The storm has a history of producing tornadoes as well as wind damage with it, a very potent system right now. So we'll take you right to the Iowa-Minnesota state line, where we've got a new tornado warning that includes you in Faribault and Freeborn counties. That includes Clarks Grove as well as Pickerel Lake. Albert Lee is right here, right along Interstate 35 that rolls on through it. And so we are seeing that rotation somewhere very near Keister that's heading up towards the north and east until 7:30. So make sure you take cover there right now. And then we've got a new tornado warning in effect. This is northern Iowa for Floyd County. This includes you in Charles City, Rockford, and Rudd. This is a Doppler radar indicated tornado. This is right here into the southwestern part of the county. That's going to move very close to or over Charles City. Make sure you get to your safe place right now. You want to get to the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows, and all within this line. Winds could be damaging. So I might want to mention Mason City right over here. You're not under the tornado warning, but you are under a severe thunderstorm warning for those strong and damaging winds. That line extends southward into Marshall County as well as into Story County, where winds could be 60, 70 plus miles per hour. Marshalltown, this is right on your doorstep. You need to be in your safe place right now. I would treat it like a tornado warning. That's how strong the winds have been here for tonight. There have been lots of reports of 70 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts associated with it. We'll take you to Des Moines. Des Moines, you have been cleared from the warning for now, though you're still under that tornado watch for about another hour, and a new line of rain and thunderstorms is developing off towards your west, so you can expect to see some more gusty winds with that, and then a severe thunderstorm warning for that main line that's going to be pushing through, including you in Altoona, Indianola, and Newton. Newton, this is just off to your west. This is crossing the Interstate 80 corridor. We've had several reports of semis and car accidents getting blown off the interstate, especially 80 with a strong south wind. So avoid that. Do not travel anywhere near this line of storms. Now we'll take you over in the northern parts of Missouri, Grundy, Mercer, and Sullivan counties under the severe thunderstorm warning. That's where you could have those strong damaging winds. In Kansas City, all the storms have pulled off towards your east now. So you're seeing improving conditions there, at least when it comes to the storms. But still, we'll see some strong wind gusts lasting into the early overnight hours. That whole line stretches down back into Kansas, and it's trying to get going back here and in northern parts of Oklahoma. So this is really extensive, and it stretches literally hundreds and hundreds of miles. So Interstate 49 getting hit on the northern tier of all this. More storms to come. And we'll have to keep our eye also on those storms for potentially producing some hail, and we couldn't rule out a couple of tornadoes. Keep in mind, sometimes tornadoes can and do happen even under severe thunderstorm watches. That's what we have in Oklahoma, parts of Kansas and Missouri tonight. Tornado watches are going to continue through 11 o'clock from the Twin Cities through central parts of Wisconsin into western Illinois and over towards the Quad Cities. So we have several hours to go. The good news, Chris, is that this is quick hitting with that main line and the tornado threat, but those strong winds are going to remain for hours beyond.
And Jackie, we know that it has already been a dangerous night of severe weather, and we're getting our first look now at what was a confirmed tornado that tore through Atlantic Iowa. Let's take a look.
You got power flashes. Tornado passing just to our east now, and we are near Atlantic, Iowa right now currently, guys. Tornadoes passing to our east right now, north of Atlantic, Iowa.
All right, so Jackie, that was certainly a sight. I'm trying to figure out exactly where that was right now.
I can tell you.
Yeah, no, I'm looking down to the road level here. But yeah, it's between Des Moines and Council Bluffs and Omaha.
Yeah.
But
those semis were probably on I-80 right there, is what I would guess, where we saw those flipped over.
They were going south, and I'll tell you why I'm confident. First, they said that the tornado was to the east of them. As they're driving right here on this, what I think is a highway, eventually, and you see that the flashes on the ground initially, you see the power flashes, and then higher up in the clouds, the lightning associated with the storm. Don't forget there's a big line associated with this. So eventually we're going to see some debris going across the road from right to left. Right? So it's going to go from right to left and right there.
Yeah.
And that was telling me that I think that's winds associated ahead of the main line.
Yes, I would agree with you. Those winds very strong. You can see the debris flying through the air there. The lightning, kind of illuminates the sky so that you can see the funnel a little bit better. It doesn't look like a super strong, super organized tornado, but we're definitely
just to our east now. And we
definitely seeing that rotation. You can hear the sound from the storm chasers of what they're seeing there, but definitely crossing the road and the strong winds. Difficult situation there tonight, certainly in Atlantic. I've been looking through storm reports, Chris. I haven't not seen very much in terms of damage, at least not structural damage. We know about the semis. There's been some tree damage as well. Fairly rural out there near Atlantic, especially if this is just north of Atlantic, like you said.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was north of Interstate 80 or south of Interstate 80. But regardless, you mentioned too, Jackie, that it doesn't have that classic, tight funnel look to it.
Right.
But it meets the definition, right? You've got thunderstorms going through, and it's rotating, and obviously in contact with the ground,
yes,
as we're seeing the power flashes and debris being kicked up, and then the vehicles that were knocked over as well. But it also just goes to show you sometimes what might look like a rain shaft in the distance might actually end up being a tornado.
It could be, and a lot of these have been difficult to see. There's been a lot of chatter also tonight that there's been a lot of rain. We saw Mike Seidel there in Des Moines with the rains going sideways. So tornadoes of this type are kind of embedded within that squall line, right? These aren't individual supercells that are out there all by themselves. So a lot of times they can be more difficult to see. They can spin up very quickly. They can weaken very quickly as well, like this one did eventually.
And Jackie, you did mention meteorologist Mike Seidel, and I just took a peek at his camera over here, and he is back in the rain again. Another line moving through Des Moines. So let's get back now live to meteorologist Mike Seidel. Mike.
Hey, Chris, not as gnarly as the last line with the squall. That's where we had the strongest winds, 61 miles an hour, peaked across the street at the Des Moines airport. The temperature went from 71 to 53. And by tomorrow morning, we're going to be down in the upper 20s with wind chills in the teens. So what a shock to the system. The high today was 74, the warmest they've ever seen in December in Des Moines, and their records go back to 1878. So the wind and rain again, you're seeing that on the radar, but notice that we're just about done. Another few minutes, as fast as these things are moving, a little flash of lightning. Actually, we got lightning closer now than we did with the squall line. Once this little bit of rain moves on through, we're done with the rain, but we're not done with the wind. We're still going to have wind gusts potentially 50 to 60 miles an hour for the next several hours, and then after midnight it will different day, not only from a wind perspective, but also from a temperature perspective. Highs tomorrow will be in the low 40s, not in the mid 70s. In fact, it may not hit 70 again here in Des Moines until February or March. So that's the story here on the Weather Channel. Let me get back. I'm sorry, I had to readjust my phone. So we did not get the worst of the line. We had wind gusts up and down the line this afternoon, this evening, up to 93 miles an hour in Lincoln, Nebraska. So we lucked out in this part of Des Moines. The bow went to the north. We had a couple of tornado warnings, but fortunately here in this area, we came out in pretty good shape. So Jackie, it really depends where you were on the line, and also the fact that these things are moving so fast. The whole thing took about 10 minutes here. From the time I first felt the rush of the cold air to the time when the rain ended, for the most part, with the original squall line. It was so quick because they were moving at hurricane force speed, 75 miles an hour.
So fast, Mike. Thankfully, everything turned out okay for you there in Des Moines. Some of the areas up to your north had some wind damage and stronger winds, and north central parts of Iowa getting hit hard right now. We've got a couple of tornado warnings remaining in effect. So this squall line is expected to hold together and continue to track off towards the east. So this is going to be kind of skirting or getting very close to the Twin Cities metro area probably within the next hour. This moves into eastern Iowa and will continue to work its way across across much of the state of Missouri. So Wisconsin, you're going to be next as well. It has a history of producing damaging winds all along the way. All those red circles you see there are the tornado reports. All the blue ones, either wind damage reports or severe wind reports. And this stretches from the high plains all the way into parts of the Midwest. So damaging wind will be a threat ongoing through eastern Iowa, through southern Minnesota, through much of the state of Wisconsin and western parts of Illinois and Missouri. Our Torcons have been updated and shifted eastward now. Rochester, Mason City, Waterloo with Torcons of a 4. We've got a 3 for you in Eau Claire, and then stretching over towards Prairie du Chien, you've got about a 2. Very unusual to have tornadoes this time of the year that far north. There have been 0 reports since 1950 in the state of Minnesota in the month of December, and only 5 in Wisconsin. The risk area and where we have watches tonight, they're over where we have snowpack in some of these spots. So I don't recall ever in my 20 plus years of being a meteorologist ever seen anything quite like that. Timing it out through the rest of the night, there we can see eastern Iowa stretching through 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Wisconsin, this is an 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock midnight for you before this all switches off towards the east. But those winds are going to remain, Chris. The worst of the winds will have peaked by the time that line pushes off towards the east. But we're still going to have those strong winds just because that area of low pressure and the big pressure gradient between that and the high following it is quite extreme.
It was those gradient winds, too, Jackie, the winds associated with the big area of low pressure that did this to that truck. Oh, could only imagine what that feeling is like for the driver here, knowing at one point you are getting past the point of no return. Hopefully the driver's okay. There's some big rigs. It takes a lot to bring them to a full stop. Some scary times indeed with the winds that were absolutely howling across the plains today there in Cheyenne. So it was in Wyoming and Colorado where earlier today we really saw the winds kicking up. And remember, we're looking here at that area of low pressure and the winds associated with it around it. That's what we're seeing the high wind warnings for. And then on a smaller scale, relatively smaller scale, it's the winds associated with the squall line that's currently moving through these areas. Actually, got to take that up here as we're watching this squall line move through. So here's a look at the forecast at some of the winds that we're expecting through time here through the rest of this evening. 40 to 50 mile an hour winds still possible in Omaha and in Kansas City. And as the night wears on, after a warm day, Mike Seidel there in Des Moines saying into the 70s, feeling the warmth. He was in a polo shirt a little bit earlier. These are going to be some cold winds. Tomorrow morning is going to be a much different deal, a big exchange in air masses here. So going from the very warm southerly flow, a much colder flow with its origins to the north in Canada. There'll be west winds, but it'll be coming down initially from the north. And these winds taking us through tomorrow afternoon into the Great Lakes. Jackie.
Yeah, going to be quite a shock to the system, going from all-time record highs in December to that big chill and even snow in some of these areas. Here's a quick update on where we have all the watches that remain in effect. The latest includes the Twin Cities and in western Wisconsin and eastern Iowa until 11 o'clock with severe thunderstorm watches south of there through Missouri. We do still have a couple of tornado warnings, one in Minnesota, one in northern parts of Iowa. So we want to get you up to date on the tornado warning for Freeborn County in Minnesota. This includes you in Clarks Grove. This is just to the east of Albert Lee. Albert Lee, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, and then a tornado warning also in effect for Floyd County in Iowa. This includes Charles City, but it looks like Charles City that rotation, that area of rotation is now passed up towards your north and east.
When faced with a challenge, it's good to remember how you've overcome them before. Range Rover Sport, driven to another level.
You got her the perfect gift. Does it matter if you give her the perfect batteries? Well, does it matter you organized the dream birthday party but rented a knockoff bouncy house?
It matters.
When it matters that it's Duracell.
It's the most joyous time of the year.
Especially at T-Mobile. Let's go to Diane.
I got the awesome new iPhone 13 Pro and AirPods, and T-Mobile's paying for them both.
And this is for new and existing customers.
Upgrade to the iPhone 13 Pro and AirPods, both on us, only at T-Mobile.
Snacking could mean that pieces get stuck under Mike's denture. But Super Polygrip gives him a tight seal to help block out food particles, so he can enjoy the game. Super Polygrip.
I need you to see.
To all the kisses that led to this one. Celebrate every kiss with K.
I recommend Nature Made vitamins because I trust their quality. They were the first to be verified by USP, an independent organization that sets strict quality and purity standards. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Only Wendy's serves a better breakfast with a better biscuit. A hot, buttery treasure loaded with a fresh cracked egg, cheese, and sausage or bacon. And to top it off right now, they're just $1. $1? Now there's no reason to go somewhere else. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
If Philly Garcia listened to those who rejected him, he never would have made a name for himself, lining up some of the biggest names in pro sports. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
And Doug.
Superpowers from a spider bite. I could use some help showing the world how Liberty Mutual customizes their car insurance, so they only pay for what they need. Did it work? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters December 17th.
Come on!
You've never seen anything like this before.
The road home for the holidays, where the ultimate driving machine becomes the ultimate cruise through 3 states machine. The ultimate zip around the corner for mom's cooking machine. And even the ultimate we couldn't get out of there any faster machine. Because at BMW, we know every holiday looks different. So we created the ultimate whatever your road home looks like machine. Hurry in to receive a credit of up to $2,500 through January 3rd.
Finding your new favorite spot. Piece of, no, you really have to try this cake.
Oh, wow.
Get exclusive access to sought-after restaurants. One of the many reasons you're with Amex Platinum.
For your local on the 8s, brought to you by Campbell's. Good.
I'm so thankful to you, to you, to you, to you, to you.
Currently in our area, 52 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, showers early, then cloudy overnight. Low 51. Chance of rain 60%. Thursday, mostly cloudy, near record high temperatures. High 61. Winds southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday night, skies clearing overnight. Low 55. Winds west southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Climate change is uncovering ground that has never been seen before.
Probably the largest untapped gold reserve in the entire world.
The awesome thing about Greenland is gold can be anywhere.
We all gave up so much to come here.
This is more dangerous than I thought it would be.
We got trouble.
We're running out of time, man.
I don't believe you have what it takes to even be out here. If gold was easy to find, everybody would do it.
Get the gold, dude.
Tornado right there. Right there. Tornado on the ground.
It certainly looks like a tornado on the ground, and Tyler here kind of scans the skies with the video, because it certainly looks like there may be some other ones possible, but that is the one right there in the middle of the screen where the condensation funnel isn't super obvious all the way up to the base of the cloud, but you can really certainly make out the lowering of the cloud, and then at the surface, the circulation. I imagine there's some circulation right there. It's hard to tell, but in person sometimes it's a lot easier to see the rotation in the fine features in the clouds, because of course our eyes see in 3 dimensions, and the video, of course, is in 2 dimensions. But so when you're actually there, it's a lot easier to tell if there is some rotation. We're likely to see more rotating thunderstorms associated with the big line here. Tornado conditions are there. The Storm Prediction Center has issued tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches for these areas right here in Wisconsin and over to and down to Illinois. The red, of course, the tornado watches through Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Missouri as well. And then the yellow areas here, those are the severe thunderstorm watches, where conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather and or tornadoes. And severe weather being the biggest threat here will be the damaging winds, which could bring it up to severe criteria. And of course, a tornado is also a severe element here of the severe categories. And there is right now 1 tornado warning. Looks like we'll see if it gets extended. It's like the worst of the storm is now on the eastern edge of this tornado warning, just outside of Austin here in Freeborn County. That's in effect until 7:30. I do like what I'm seeing right now across central and moving into eastern Iowa. And that is, we're not seeing as potent of cells associated with this. So it's a little bit more fragmented. That being said, anywhere within here, including this bit right here, could have a tornado associated with it. A tornado is possible, so this is a considerable threat, but overall the line is not as distinct with its heavy rain and frequent lightning as it was earlier. And by what I mean by that, you can see that a little bit better here. There's a break in here, a little bit more fragmented down here, but still we can have some nasty bits within that. Overall, though, the line seems to be stretching out a bit. Regardless, anywhere along this line, there can be damaging winds here. Considerable threat associated with these severe thunderstorm warnings. That's Interstate 70 just east now of Kansas City, where there was some damage reported as this line came through in Kansas City, and then down across Interstate 49 all the way down through Missouri and into Kansas, with some thunderstorms now starting to fire up here in Oklahoma. Again, there's also, after some of the severe weather has come through, there's snow on the backside of this. So much colder air is moving in. Here's this big area of low pressure, and it's this big area of low pressure that is bringing the widespread wind threat. And out ahead of that big area of low pressure is where the main severe weather threat is. So let's get a closer look at the timing. And for that, let's go to Jackie.
Yeah, it's interesting, Chris. You know, you were pointing out a little bit of that weakening trend. Not that I want to focus in on weakening, but the models are actually picking that up. So we want to show you the latest future radar, indicating that here in southern Iowa, showing perhaps that part of the line could go down a little bit, but don't let your guard down. Still treat this as a dangerous night ahead, but also look at what it's doing up here into northern parts of Iowa, into southeastern parts of Minnesota, and also keeping that line strong down here. So we still think that severe weather is going to be ongoing as this progresses off towards the east, heading towards the Quad Cities around 8, 9 o'clock for tonight. Here comes that line working its way through western parts of Wisconsin. This is is going to affect places like La Crosse, Eau Claire, eventually working its way towards Wausau. And then a lot of that energy starts to lift a little farther up towards the north. And that's why the line then begins to die down as we head through the overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow. But even after the storm's exit, remember, we're still going to have winds. You just don't see that on the radar because they're not associated with any showers or a thunderstorm. So I feel like Des Moines is a really good example because a lot of the worst of that squall has already passed off towards your east. Look at the forecast wind gusts at 10 o'clock tonight. 50 to 60 miles per hour. We issue severe thunderstorm warnings when the winds are around 60. So that can cause a lot of damage still. And the winds will stay strong right into tomorrow morning, but starting to gradually weaken. Let's give you an update on the Twin Cities. We've got torcons of 2 on the north side of town, 3 for Minneapolis and St. Paul. Now, line of storms is just to your southwest and is going to be lifting through 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And then we could see another little push on the back side of this coming through around midnight, maybe 1 o'clock. You can expect to see some gusty winds with that. And then all the precipitation is going to begin to exit the region. But there you see some of those strong winds still continuing between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning. It may be a challenging morning commute for a lot of folks with those gusty winds sticking around.
I'm coming home, baby. I'm coming home now, right away. I'm coming home, baby. I'm sorry now I ever went.
The ride of your life is closer than you think. For the first time ever, buy your new car entirely from home with Nissan at Home. Delivered direct from dealer to driveway.
I'm coming home now real soon.
Some things can't be tried at home.
Where next?
With Capital One, the possibilities are unlimited. Introducing Venture X, our new class of travel card. Earn 10x miles on hotels and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, plus receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. Find your where next with Venture X. What's in your wallet?
Snacking could mean that pieces get stuck under Mike's denture. But Super Polygrip gives him a tight seal to help buck out food particles, so he can enjoy the game. Super Polygrip.
This holiday season, give your family the gift that keeps on going.
Our very own Energizer Bunny.
Energizer Ultimate Lithium. The #1 longest lasting AA battery.
Most bladder leak pads were similar, until Always Discreet invented a pad that protects differently, with 2 rapid dry layers. For strong protection that's always discreet. Question your protection. Try Always Discreet.
Curiosity pushes you forward. It's what inspired Meiomi to create an unrivaled wine using the best from California to push flavor in new directions for a taste like no other. Meiomi, flavor forward.
The only thing a disaster can't destroy is hope. Donate now at redcross.org.
Consumer Cellular has the best customer service.
They care about the customer.
The best price with the best quality.
The prices, the coverage.
The coverage is great.
It was the same, if not better.
Consumer Cellular provides the exact same premium coverage as the nation's leading carriers for half the cost. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get talk, text, and data starting at just $20 a month.
It's like 4 scoops of ice cream for the price of 1.
Switch today and get $100 on every new line. Call or go online.
Shop the FE Holiday event at Macy's with 30 to 50% off fine jewelry. Plus shop super buys like gemstones and diamonds, beautiful diamond cluster rings, and this amazing emerald pendant and ring. Give the gift of sparkle at Macy's.
When the weather's at its worst,
We are tracking all things storms tonight.
no one gets you closer than Storm Center.
Rain, wind, snow. Let's bring up the maps here and show you what we're looking at.
Meteorologist Chris Warren, Jackie Jarris, and Tevin Wooten expertly track your worst weather threats on Storm Center. Weeknights from 4 to 8 here on the Weather Channel.
All right, this is Storm Center tracking some thunderstorms and tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings right now across the Midwest, through the plains all the way up to the upper Midwest. And in Minnesota, a tornado warning for the first time in December. A lot of lightning right now happening where there's a lot of snow on the ground. The severe weather threat here, the imminent threat with tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings going all the way down to Oklahoma from southern Minnesota here and all the way through Iowa as well. So we start off right here in Minnesota. This is that tornado warning in effect, radar indicated tornado warning in effect for Freeborn County. And then over here, this one in Iowa, just south of the Minnesota border. This one has been observed. So again, a confirmed tornado or observed tornado here in Howard County. Again, if you're in this area, this red outlined area, now is the time to take cover. It's difficult to say exactly where it is, somewhere in here, whether it's this batch or this batch. A little tough to say at the moment. And go back here. And there's a little bit of a notching here, a little bit of a notch there, and a little bit of a notch there. Regardless, if you're anywhere within this area here, and eventually, so first Vernon Springs, and then beyond that, if it stays together, Spring Grove, and then eventually La Crosse, Wisconsin. Whether or not this is going to go all the way in that direction remains to be seen. However, I think somewhere along this line we'll eventually get to La Crosse, Wisconsin here going forward. Again, another look at that tornado warning for Howard County, the observed tornado. Just now west of Cedar Rapids, some pretty strong and nasty storms. That severe thunderstorm warning does extend all the way to just outside of Cedar Rapids in Iowa City. There's no reason to say this trend won't continue into these cities and then into the Quad Cities as well. It's moved out of Kansas City. Colder air is coming in, calmer air. Columbia, you're going to be up soon. Springfield, Missouri, you're going to be up soon. And that's just the name of the game and the way things have been going throughout this evening. Watch is posted here. There is an end to it. We'll see if the Storm Prediction Center eventually adds on to that, extends any of these watches here, but up to 11 o'clock, that's where the tornado threat's going to be. Severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. Again, it could be extended, especially up here closer to that center of the low, where we're not seeing it stretch out quite as much here. So again, a severe weather threat associated with a big area of low pressure. With that too, Jackie, of course, is causing its own problems, but they're mainly wind problems as well.
Yeah, so we've got a number of hours ahead of us where things are still going to be touch and go in areas. Want to get to our meteorologist, Mike Seidel. He's been in Des Moines. He was out there in the worst of the winds as that line moved on through. But Mike, we're still going to be dealing with gusty conditions into the overnight.
Yeah, the winds will continue rather sporty. Right now, we're still gusting over 40 miles an hour. The rain has ended. That's it for the rain. The tornado threat has ended, and all the severe threat has ended for now. The only thing we're concerned with is the continued gusty winds. It's the gradient flow. That's the pressure gradient, which causes the wind around this big low going up through the upper Midwest, and that's what plowed the squall line through here about an hour ago. It was moving at about 70 to 75 miles an hour. I don't know if I've ever covered a thunderstorm that's moved that fast. The rain came in, but it only rained for about 10 minutes. The whole event took about 10, 12 minutes. First, you felt the gust front come in. I could feel the cold air coming in across from the runways across the street at the Des Moines airport. Temperature went from 71 down to 53. We had the rain. We had the horizontal blowing rain. As I mentioned, peak gust 61. So we were very fortunate, at least on this part of the line in southwest Des Moines. We did not get the higher wind gusts that we saw upstream, Jackie, as high as 93 in Lincoln, Nebraska. As far as power outages here, very few. I just checked the latest from, let me give you the latest here, from the county we're in. If I can get back to my, well, I can't get back to it. But power outages, I believe, in Polk County, about 4,000, about 1% and change of all the customers. So Polk County, the home county of Des Moines, has fared pretty good considering what we've seen west of here and what we're going to see east of here in some spots through the rest of this evening. But keep in mind, still these winds that could gust upwards of 50, maybe 60 miles an hour for the next few hours.
All right. Hey, Mike, I got it for you. I got that graphic up right now, actually, showing Polk County with just over 4,000 without power. The entire state of Iowa pushing 90,000 now, and most of those in Cerro Gordo County, Mason City, the county seat up there, 12,000. So that's a lot of folks having to deal with that, with those chilly temperatures that are coming in. Nationwide, we're just shy of 500,000, so almost 500,000 without power. Some of that is still from the aftermath of the tornadoes, though, so that's accountable there. Colorado had wind gusts over 100 miles per hour, 76,000 in the dark.
Your kindness outshines your highs and lows. Your strength can outlast any bad day because you are greater than your bipolar 1. And you can help take control of your symptoms and ask about Vraylar. Some medicines only treat the lows or highs. Once daily Vraylar is proven to treat depressive, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults. Full spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and weight gain, and high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, may occur. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Common side effects include sleepiness and stomach issues. Movement dysfunction and restlessness are also common. You are greater than your bipolar 1. Ask about Vraylar.
There's a different way to treat HIV. It's once monthly injectable Cabenuva. Cabenuva is the only once-a-month complete HIV treatment for adults who are undetectable.
Cabenuva helps keep me undetectable. It's 2 injections given by my healthcare provider once a month.
HIV pills aren't on my mind.
I love being able to pick up and go.
Don't receive Cabenuva if you're allergic to its ingredients or taking certain medicines which may interact with Cabenuva. Serious side effects include allergic reactions, post-injection reactions, liver problems, and depression. If you have a rash and other allergic reaction symptoms, stop Cabenuva and get medical help right away. Tell your doctor if you have liver problems or mental health concerns, and if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or considering pregnancy. Some of the most common side effects include injection site reactions, fever, and tiredness. If you switch to Cabenuva, attend all treatment appointments.
With once a month Cabenuva, I'm good to go.
Ask your doctor about once monthly Cabenuva.
It's a most unusual day. Feel like throwing my worries away. As an old native-born Californian would say, it's a most unusual day. It's a most unusual sky. Not a sign of a cloud passing by. If my heart won't behave in the usual way.
Experience the power of Sanctuary at the Lincoln Wishlist event.
This holiday, let them shine like never before. This is how we shine. Find the perfect gift at Zales, the Diamond Store.
Come on!
You've never seen anything like this before.
A new video entered the Weather Channel and a sound that I imagine has been very familiar in Iowa this evening and tonight, as there have been several tornado warnings, and we have seen some video of some tornadoes as well. This system still moving through the Midwest right now, through Iowa, more so now into Missouri, and now our first tornado warning in Minnesota as well. A state that has a lot of snow on the ground here. So something really tough to wrap our heads around here as far as what we would typically see in December. But this is that big area of low pressure, and these are some strong winds still associated with it. So there's high wind warnings still for several states, several severe thunderstorm warnings. High wind warnings are associated with a larger scale wind pattern associated with this storm. And then the severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warnings are a smaller scale associated with this part of the storm. And we see the isobars, the lines of equal pressure, and the tighter they are means there's a bigger difference in pressure over distance. So when they're really packed, you're seeing a big difference in low pressure and high pressure. And when that happens, we end up getting these very strong winds wrapping around the area of low pressure, like right here. And when you go in, you can see ahead of it, here's where there's also some extra strong winds associated with the thunderstorms. And you have snow coming on the back side of it as well. And again, here's that area of low pressure now in southern Minnesota. It's on a dark map because this was the visible satellite. We lost, of course, the daylight, so now it's just a map, but it shows you, a pretty good idea of what's going on. Still some strong winds in the Rockies as well, and pretty strong winds out ahead of the system. The difference is these are going to be warm winds, and these are going to be cold, as indicated by the snowfall that we're seeing now in parts of Nebraska. Here's the, here we go. Now another tornado warning into Wisconsin here. There was one here that has expired. I'm sorry, into Minnesota. If it eventually holds together, it will get into Wisconsin. But here's Iowa. Severe thunderstorm warnings on this whole stretch right here. But it's this red outlined area that is a tornado warning right now. Again, this is just outside of La Crosse, just across the river to the just now passing Lime Springs, but includes Harmony, Preston, and Rushford. Radar indicated a tornado warning. Fillmore, Houston, and Winneshiek counties. This probably right in here. Now, some of the velocity, the winds going in opposite directions, represented by different colors. When that is close to each other, it's where the spin is. It's hard to say exactly if it's this bit or this bit. Could be both, frankly, the way this night has been going. So we're going to time that out here. And the timing is eventually for Harmony within the next 7 minutes, roughly, or so. So we'll call it the next 5 to 10 minutes. Preston, similar story, a little bit after that. Then Rushford, Winona, then Holland. Eventually, that would be now on the Wisconsin side. Again, if this does hold together. Regardless, I think we're going to have the chance for damaging winds and, again, possibly a tornado here. You can see this is that nasty stretch right through here. And, again, the tornado warning here. But this is really where the meat of it is heading in this direction. So Newburgh, again, within that for Howard County. And then a little bit farther to the south, severe thunderstorm warning approaching, not quite to yet, Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, but eventually to Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. It will get there. The warnings end before we get to the Oklahoma border, but thunderstorms are starting to develop now across the border from Kansas. Severe thunderstorm warnings also stretching through a huge portion of Missouri as well. And here's the threat area expected over the next few hours. And this threat, again, of course, we know, Jackie, possibly could last even beyond that. Yeah, I mean, tornadoes in Minnesota in December. That's the second ever tornado warning issued. The first one was, what, 20 minutes or so ago? Right, both tonight. Yeah. Just incredible to think that that's what's happening here, and snow cover in parts of the state, too. Now, rain and thunderstorms could soak some of the same areas recovering from that devastating tornado outbreak over last weekend. Here's a look at Hart County in south central Kentucky, one of the hardest hit areas. You can see damage and debris scattered about in this community, and rain is going to be arriving back here along with some thunderstorms to round out the week. Now, we do have an area that we have to keep our eye out on for severe thunderstorms tomorrow. This would be affecting Arkansas and perhaps some of the tornado damage areas there, but not into Tennessee or Kentucky or Missouri. So the risk area, Texarkana, perhaps Shreveport, even Little Rock. I think damaging winds will be the most likely form of severe weather that we're going to have to be concerned about. So our jet stream that's overhead, still really potent, and very strong winds aloft across the region. Little pieces of energy are going to move through that jet stream and provide a little bit more lift and disturbance throughout the atmosphere. We've got moisture, which is coming in from the south, and all those things working together along a stationary boundary to bring repeated rounds of rain and some embedded thunderstorms. So while we're not expecting severe weather here in Kentucky or in Mayfield, we are expecting rain and thunderstorms at this time. And so we still have efforts underway
of recovery and cleanup right now. And unfortunately, if folks have not been able to get all of the things that they've been trying to salvage and save out of all of that, it's going to get more damage as a result of some of this rain. So there you can see it pushing in as we head into your Thursday, and that's going to last a good portion throughout the day. And with that boundary kind of flattening out and stalling out, it's going to be a pretty unsettled go of it. Some isolated flash flooding will be possible. That's what we're going to have to keep our eye out for. That would be most likely by the end of the week into your Friday, but expecting a few spots to get 2 to 3 inches of rain.
It's all gone, son.
Oh no, Sam's. This one.
Again.
Let go of your umbrella, 'cause darling, I'm just trying.
What's all this?
You can't have a bookstore without books.
Thank you all so much.
Find anything to make your pet's holiday special. This weekend only, save 50% on all beds and holiday toys. And save 20% on your free same-day delivery order with DoorDash. PetSmart, anything for pets.
Great parenting needs great allies. Ziploc Grip and Seal. Easier to grip and open for the world's greatest parents.
SC Johnson. Nicorette knows quitting smoking is freaking hard. You get advice like, just stop. Go for a run. Go for 10 runs. Run a marathon. Instead, start small with Nicorette, which can lead to something big. Start stopping with Nicorette. Fresh flavors. Classic dishes. And a new seat at the table. I need you to see. To all the kisses that led to this one. Celebrate every kiss with Kay.
This is Antonelli's Cheese Shop, and we're the Antonellis.
We chose our new Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One because we earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase.
And with no preset spending limit, our purchasing power adapts to our business needs. What's in your wallet?
Spectrum Mobile now costs just $29.99 a month when you get 2 or more lines. $29.99? Yes, and you get everything. You get unlimited data and nationwide 5G. And all you're paying is, that's what I was going to say. And all this comes on a super secure connection. $29.99. I'm going to go. Are they crazy? Possibly. Are they going to change it? No, they already made the balloons. It's the best deal in mobile. Spectrum Mobile.
Firefighter Maggie Gronwald knows how to handle dry weather and dry, cracked skin. New Gold Bond Advanced Healing Ointment. Restore healthy skin with no sticky feeling. Gold Bond. Champion your skin. Nurse Mariam Sabo knows a moment this pure demands a lotion this pure. New Gold Bond Pure Moisture Lotion. 24-hour hydration. No parabens, dyes, or fragrances. Gold Bond. Champion your skin.
Be turned into handbags? And can feeding cows seaweed help change the world? If you have questions about the climate, rely on the most trusted name in television, the Weather Channel and its innovative pattern climate team. Together, we can start to make sense of the most important issue facing our future every day on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 52 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, showers early, then cloudy overnight. Low 51. Chance of rain 60%. Thursday, mostly cloudy, near record high temperatures. High 61. Winds southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday night, skies clearing overnight. Low 55. Winds west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
This is Storm Center. I'm meteorologist Chris Warner, along with meteorologist Jackie Jarris, and it has been one heck of a stormy day, starting off early in the day across a lot of the plains, Colorado and Wyoming, and now to where we are with the severe weather threat that is currently ongoing. You can see all of the different wind reports that we saw here from North Dakota to New Mexico, and now it's increasing across the plains with tornado reports just over the past 6 hours. A lot of this happening while we've been on the air with you for almost 4 hours now. The tornadoes, we've also seen some video of some of these tornadoes, and this is where that threat is right now. One tornado warning, the second tornado warning on record for the month of December in Minnesota. That's happening. And then south here in Nebraska, there's snow. In fact, there's some thunder snow right now, and a similar story possibly going to be unfolding here in parts of eastern South Dakota. Here is that tornado warning right now for Fillmore, Houston, Winneshiek counties. This includes Harmony, Preston, and Rushford. This is just going across Newburgh right now, and it's west of La Crosse, Wisconsin. Storm is going through Waterloo right now on the far western side, outside of Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. Some lightning associated with that. Also some lightning associated down here with the thunderstorms currently working through Missouri, the southeast corner now of Kansas, and into more thunderstorms now into Oklahoma and in the northeast part of the state. Eventually, Tulsa, you're going to get some heavy rain, I think, and possibly some thunderstorms. You're on the tail end of this. So from Tulsa to the Twin Cities right now, tracking that threat for some storms. Okay, so let's go ahead right now. There is another tornado warning, and that, again, is right here in Rochester, just to the east, I should say, in Rochester. Now, this is the third, number 3 tornado warning in Minnesota. Again, has not recorded a tornado warning in the month of December in Minnesota, just on the other side of the border of Wisconsin. So this threat likely to continue into Wisconsin tonight. Olmsted County here, radar indicated tornado warning. The spin likely somewhere in here. You see a little bit brighter red, a little bit brighter green, and with the winds going either toward the radar or away from the radar, we infer that there is that spin somewhere in here. So Marion, Yoda, Elgin, Plainview, and Highland eventually heading your way. Again, the tornado warning here in effect, again, associated with a line of storms that we're currently tracking, again, from Tulsa up to the Twin Cities, associated with this big area of low pressure. This is about the broad center somewhere in here. This is the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, but certainly watching an extremely active day turn evening, and now a very active night, Jackie.
I want to show you some of the video that's been coming into the Weather Channel this evening of some of the winds and some of the damage. This is from Omaha, Nebraska, of some of the strong winds there. Winds were clocked at 93 miles per hour. And look at that rain just coming down horizontally. There has been some spotty damage because of those winds in eastern parts of Nebraska. And we want to take you to Iowa right now. This is in Ogden. This is north and west of Des Moines. And this is one of the areas that got hit with severe storms. There were tornado warnings in effect in the area. We got reports of some damage in Jefferson, which isn't too far away from here in Ogden. Tough to make out, really what we're looking at here, but a lot of lightning with those storms as they rolled on through here too. Now, Kansas, you've been getting hit with the squall line too. You've had some pretty intense winds clocked across your state, and you can see how those strong winds are just blowing debris across the area, from some of the fields, as well as maybe even some garbage, it looks like, potentially, or pieces of plastic or something that's getting blown on through the area. So it's not just the winds with the thunderstorms that have been a problem. It's the pressure gradient from the area of low pressure that's been going through here that's been driving some wind gusts, 60+ miles per hour. We still have high wind warnings. And in fact, for many states here, into the plains. That dark purple is where the high wind warnings are, meaning our winds could still gust over 60 miles per hour. And that has nothing to do with thunderstorms, and that can cause a lot of damage. Wind advisories in the lighter purple here, including you in St. Louis on up towards Detroit. So those strong winds are going to be ongoing. All of these blue dots you see clustered here is where we have damaging wind reports or severe wind reports. And winds were most extreme in parts of the high plains into Colorado, where they sloped down the mountains and accelerated and reached 100+ miles per hour at times. So there are a lot of folks who are still without power right now. You can't get up and fix the power lines or get up into those cherry pickers if the winds are too strong. So we've got to wait for the winds to calm down to get some of this power back on. Still just shy of 500,000 people without power. Most of those right now are in the state of Kansas with 132,000 in the dark. Here's a look at some of those extreme wind reports. 107 miles per hour. That's the highest we could find in Lamar, Colorado. The winds are starting to calm down here into parts of the high plains, but still going strong across parts of the upper Midwest.